Good evening, Saito residents and the member of our community. I call to order the meeting of the May 23rd, 2024 regular meeting of the City Council and Success Agency. The invocation will be led by City Clerk Vida Baron, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Boy Scout Troop 72. You all rise.
Let us pray. Father, please guide with wisdom our city council members, our staff and our team, our members of our community, and please lay your blessings upon them so that we can move forward with the wonderful work of our wonderful city. Amen.
All those in uniform, right hand salute. All those not, right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All be seated. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll call?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Council and Agency Member Barrows.
Present.
Council and Agency Member Johnson.
Present.
Council and Agency Member Yokoyama.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Vo.
Present.
Mayor and Chair Solanki.
Present. Next on the agenda, we have the presentation. Tonight, we have the Eagle Scout Troops 72. The rank of Eagle Scout awards only 6% of all the Boy Scout of America member. It is the highest award that can be earned in Boy Scouting. This evening, the City of Cerritos will recognize 4 members of Troop 72 who has achieved this great honor through their hard work and dedication. The following Eagle Scout have completed outstanding projects which are identified as follows: Sky Bang, Anju Parikh, Riha Raj, Adris Saranathan. So we'll start with Sky Bang, if he can come to the podium right here. Good evening. So this is for your Eagle Scout. Would you like to say how you achieved this?
Okay. Hi, my name is Sky Bang. I have achieved this rank of Eagle Scout by helping out the community and enjoying my time as a Boy Scout. Through my journey, I have learned multiple things like leadership, and through that, I have achieved the Eagle Scout, and all of the achievements that I have made along the way helped me to also contribute to the community and hopefully to the future of Cerritos.
Congratulations, and I'd like to invite my council colleagues for the photo. Okay, would you like to invite your families who can take a picture too with you? Okay. Got it? All right.
Three photos with this camera. 1, 2, 3. Three more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 3 more with this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations. Great job.
Congratulations.
Next we have is the Anju Parikh. Would you like to talk about your project?
My name is Anuj Parikh. I currently attend Cerritos High School. My Eagle project included going to the Los Cerritos Mall and signing people up for the bone marrow registry. This helped save approximately 31 lives, as we had 31 people sign up for the registry. The chance of finding a match for the registry is actually 1 in a million, and it was actually very, very good to help and give back to the community.
Congratulations. Great job. Let's take a photo. Council colleague. Like to invite your family who can take also pictures.
One more. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Congratulations. Great job.
Thank you.
Next we have is Rihanna Raj. Do you want to talk about your project?
All right, hi, my name is Rihan. I currently attend Cerritos High School. For my Eagle project, I partnered with the Long Beach Animal Care Services and I built 13 partitions for the animals. And, you know, as everyone knows, there's a lot of animals that don't have homes. So this really helped them and the people at the animal care shelter by allowing them to have more room and more efficiency overall there. So.
Great job. Congratulations. Let's take a picture. Hold this for you. Council colleagues.
Three photos. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Great. Would you like to invite your family for a photo?
One more. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations again. Great job. Thank you.
Good job.
Next we have is the Adrish Saranathan. Same, would you like to talk about your project?
Hi, my name is Adarsh. I currently go to Cerritos High School, and for my project, I partner with the Hanuman Temple in Torrance. They used to have broken down shoe racks, and that created a tripping hazard because everyone would leave their slippers on the floor. But I created new, larger ones to replace them, and also encouraged them to actually use the shoe racks with signs, and that helped with making the temple a better place for all devotees.
Congratulations. Those of you who don't know, in Hindu temple, you do not wear shoes inside. You have to keep your shoes outside. That's what you build, right? Yeah. Good. Congratulations. Sorry, Councilor Alex. You want to invite your family?
Last one.
Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Next we have is the business spotlight, Hana Wellness Center. The City of Cerritos showcase a local business every month to foster pride in Cerritos having business, community, and strong local economy. A proclamation will be presented to Hana Wellness Center for being selected as a part of the city's business recognition program. Hana Wellness Center was established in 2005 under the direction of Dr. Frank Sung Ha Om, focusing in pain management and specializing in the area of lumbar and cervical pain. Dr. Om incorporated natural modalities of Eastern medicine such as acupuncture and cupping, with the individualized treatment plan tailored to each patient needs. In addition, Hana Wellness Center educates patients in the area of proper nutrition, exercise, stretching, technique, stress management, and lifestyle choice. The primary goal of Hana Wellness Center is to provide effective treatment and rehabilitation with the educational comfort for those patients to empower each patient to maintain optimal health. Hana Wellness Center is located at 13079 Artesia Boulevard, Suite B130, Cerritos, California. Hana Well Center's phone number is 562-926-0333. Their website is www.hanawellnesscenter.com. Accepting the proclamation is Ms. Jenny Hong. Is she home? Congratulations, and would you like to say a few more words?
Just a little bit.
Okay, go ahead. Sure.
Last month, a gentleman was worried about looking 10 pounds heavier, so I hope I don't put you guys to sleep for not too long. Good evening. My name is Jenny and it is with great joy to receive the Business Spotlight Award on behalf of Hana Wellness Center. Our staff and I would like to extend our gratitude to the City of Cerritos, local businesses, and residents. It is truly an honor. I can recall the humble beginnings of Hana Wellness Center upon its inception in 2005 on the corner of Artesia and Carmenita. For nearly 20 years, we have received overwhelming love and support from our businesses and residents in Cerritos. In 2021, Hana Wellness Center was able to expand its operations to the newly renovated Pacifica Plaza, located on the corner of Artesia and Shoemaker. Thanks to all the generous referrals from our faithful patients, in the last 2 decades, Hana Wellness Center did not need to advertise because besides being automatically listed in the local directories. We are grateful and blessed to such undeserving support and loyalty from our community. It has all been truly God's grace. As mentioned, Hana Wellness Center utilizes natural modalities to assist our patients achieving maximum health without side effects. We integrate Asian medicine with proper nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle in order for our patients to maintain their health and happiness. We do not prescribe a universal pill or treatment for all of our patients with the same illness. Each person has a unique body composition, healing mechanisms, and reactions. We incorporate acupuncture, cupping, herbs, and supplements to assist our patients to the road to wellness. Lastly, Hana Wellness Center has also had the privilege of offering internship opportunities to students in the ABC and nearby school districts. Under the direct supervision of Dr. Each student learns of various treatment protocols and the importance of quality patient care. It is with great anticipation that we plant many seeds in the hearts of these students. It is also with great hope that we witness these same students give back to their communities in the medical field. In addition, Dr. and Hana Wellness Center also embark on regular mission trips to Mexico and Baja California. We are dedicated in providing quality medical care, not only in the community, but to the other communities in need. Once again, thank you for the honor and recognizing Hana Wellness Center as a Business Spotlight Award recipient. We are committed to providing the best medical care to our residents and businesses of Cerritos. Thank you once again.
Congratulations. Council colleague for photo op, please. Council. You don't want the doctor to be in the picture too?
I think he wants to take it first and then go.
He can take it then. You and your family too?
Yeah, the kids. Come on.
Don't be shy.
Three photos with this camera first. 1, 2, 3.
You just open the.
Try again. 1, 2, 3. One more. With this camera. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
I think they wanted to take one in the phone.
It's okay.
It's good? Okay, all right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you all, Boy Scout and the Business Spotlight for coming. Next, regarding the item 5A, sorry, we have. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting. State law and the local rules do not support the profanity, hateful speech, or conduct that disturbs the conduct of this city council meeting. If necessary, I will issue initial warning and then call for the recess to restore order. After that, the chamber may be cleared if disruption continue. At this time, I am requesting council consents to reorder tonight's agenda to hear item 9B, consideration of the city council protocol manual, chapter 8. At this time, do I have a consent? Item 9B. We'll bring it first.
Yes.
Yep. 9B. Okay.
You want to discuss 9B first?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
City Clerk, can you please provide additional information concerning the public comments?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The following comments pertain to all public comment periods on tonight's agenda. Prior to the meeting, the council and agency members received full-text, unredacted copies of the 7 written comments submitted for this meeting by the deadline listed on the agenda. Requests for copies of written comments can be made to the Office of the City Clerk Treasurer during regular business hours. The mayor will open public comments at the appropriate times on the agenda. Please be prepared to approach the podium and begin your comments at the time you are called. Public comments should be directed to the City Council and made only from the podium during your turn. Please respect each speaker and refrain from any disruptive behavior or speech during their comment time. This concludes the public comment information for this meeting, and the meeting is returned to the mayor to continue to item 9B.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, I'm sorry, can you confirm there was consensus to move that?
Yes, thank you. I did hear consensus from the mayor pro tem, and Councilmember Barros.
For the record, I oppose because we have a consent calendar item of 7F where we do have somebody in the audience here for that item.
Okay.
Now we have to make him wait.
Okay. So at this time, I'm requesting council consent. So we take the item 9B.
Mayor, members of the City Council, item 9B will be presented by City Clerk Vita Barone, and following her presentation, she and Mr. Erkey and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. The matter before you is a result of City Council consensus direction provided at the May 9th meeting to review and consider City Council Protocol Manual, Chapter 8, relating to the order of business and conduct of public meetings for the purpose of enhancing meeting efficiency. This presentation also affords a great opportunity to inform concerning the purpose of City Council business meetings and the law related to public participation and access. Before we get to the specifics of the official order of business in the City Council Protocol Manual, we thought it would be a good idea to provide some background concerning city business meetings and California's open meeting law. Next slide, please. Taking a look at city public business meetings, the City Council is prohibited from conducting the public's business at any gathering other than a publicly noticed business meeting. We can look at tonight's agenda as a good example of what some of those items of public business are. Tonight, the City Council is meeting to review, consider, and transact items such as approval of previous meeting minutes, approval of financial reports and budget amendments, award of contracts, leases, agreements, large-scale city purchases, approval of conditional use permits, precise plans, and other land use matters, locations for installation of pickleball courts, potential amendment of city governing documents, as the City Council Protocol Manual, and closed session matters concerning labor negotiations and anticipated litigation. Next slide, please. Other examples of familiar public business items that can only be transacted in noticed public meetings are annual city budget and audit documents, updates and amendments to city laws through ordinance adoption, adoption of policy resolutions, support or opposition to state and federal legislation, and the notice and call of elections and certification of election results. Accordingly, and in order to provide assistance to the City Council and members of the public who may have questions on these items, we have department directors, division managers, the city's charter employees, legal counsel, and several consultants in attendance tonight and at every meeting to ensure that any specific subject matter inquiries can be addressed prior to the City Council making final decisions on any of these items. We also have technical staff from the Office of the City Clerk and our IT and communications divisions to support our meeting audio-visual, broadcast, and live stream technologies. Next slide, please. California's open meeting law, the Brown Act, preserves and protects the public's rights to participate in the city's public business, remain informed about potential decision-making, and receive advance notice concerning city business meeting dates, times, and locations, the specific business items and materials to be discussed and transacted, the methods for public participation before final decision-making on listed business items, and the methods for the public to address the City Council on issues not listed on the business meeting agenda, but are within the legislative body's subject matter jurisdiction. And I have that little asterisk there as a note. It should be noted that the City Council is generally prohibited from making decisions or having lengthy discussions on any item that is not listed on each meeting agenda. As we mentioned previously, each public meeting is planned well in advance to provide ample opportunity for the public to participate in the meetings, remain informed of the decisions under consideration, address agenda and non-agenda items, ensure the right staff and external parties are available as subject matter experts, and of course, to remain compliant with state open meeting law. Next slide, please. So as long as the city adheres to the provisions of the Brown Act, they can arrange the order of the city council meetings in any manner that they choose to ensure compliance with the law and to ensure the efficient transaction of city business items. Generally speaking, the city can also set limitations on public speaking times, televised broadcasts, and any other item that falls outside of the scope of the open meeting law. With that background, we can now move to the specific item for consideration by the City Council. With an eye towards meeting efficiency and compliance with the California Brown Act, the City Council Protocol Manual, Chapter 8, Section 8.09, addresses the order of business for City Council public meetings, and Section 8.08 addresses the scope of use for the city's audiovisual equipment for live broadcasts and web streaming of City Council meetings. As mentioned earlier, the City Council can set their public meeting order of business in such a manner to efficiently conduct and transact public business, provide the times and methods for public participation on agenda and non-agenda items, and any other meeting methods of procedure. It is recommended the City Council review and discuss the information presented in the official agenda report, this presentation, take public comment, and take action if desired to amend City Council Protocol Manual Sections 8.08, 8.09, or Chapter 8 in general. Any action taken tonight will become effective immediately. There is no fiscal impact to the city as a result of City Council majority action to amend the Protocol Manual. Funds are available in the current and proposed budget for legal conformance and archiving of City Council official documents, including the Protocol Manual. This concludes my report, and staff is available to answer any questions the City Council may have.
Thank you. Does the council has a question for the staff? Okay.
Madam Clerk, just to clarify then, with this item is a request to amend the protocol manual and to place non-agenda public comments towards the end of a meeting agenda and to turn off the video and audio? Is that what this is?
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you, Council Member, for the question. We are at the pleasure of the City Council. We have placed these items at the direction of the City Council on the agenda. We were directed to place Section 8.08, 8.09, and Chapter 8 on the agenda, but it's on, that's the Council's pleasure as to what they would like to do with any of those items. The staff is not offering any specific recommendations in that regard.
And to do so, would that then mean we are still in compliance with the Brown Act?
Well, I will defer to the city attorney if any specific legal items come up, but generally speaking, if to address the specific, and I hate to turn around, I have to admit, so my apologies, but I do want to make sure I'm addressing the City Council with respect. If the council should so choose to place non-agenda public comments at the end of the meeting, they would be in compliance with the California Brown Act. Public comments on agenda items that are legislative items or decisions that the City Council is going to make, public comments on those items have to be taken prior to any final decision making. But for non-agenda public comments, you can really place those anywhere on the agenda and be in compliance with the Brown Act because the City Council can't take action on any of those items.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I will open up for public if anybody would like to speak on this item.
Cerritos resident, and I think I did put my name on the electronic agenda. I'm not sure if it went through.
Oh, I do apologize. I'm sorry, Mr. Cortez. I think you have to
Oh, this is-
disconnect Ryan to have the timer. Disconnect the PowerPoint. I do apologize.
I was here in 2019 when this came up, and all 5 council members here, they want to cut the minutes to 3 minutes, and not to move it, but to cut it to 3 minutes, and it didn't go through. And this reminds me of some of the ABC USC meetings when I remember a couple trustees wanted to stop the meeting, public comments, because they needed to go to sleep. Because it was going to be late, so they had to stop. I said 10 o'clock, it'll be too late. So they were arguing about the time because some of them were feeling tired. So, I came here in 2019, and I brought this information about 2 years sample of meetings. And 2/3 of the meetings were less than 3 hours. 2/3 of all the meetings, 2017, 18, and 19. Public comments don't really extend the time that you have to be here. In 2014, the maximum time that people spoke was 30 minutes, average 10 minutes. 2015, 25 minutes maximum, 7 minutes average. 2016, 50 minutes was the maximum, 15 minutes average. 2017, 70 minutes was the maximum that people spoke, 25 minutes was the average. 2018 was 90 minutes, the maximum, but the average was 35 minutes. 2019, 102 minutes was the longest, 35 minutes the average. 2020, 100 minutes, the average was 25. 2021, 30 minutes, the average less than 10 minutes. 2022, 30 minutes, the max, average was about 10 minutes. 2023, 75 minutes the max, 20 minutes average. And this year, 75 minutes, and the average has been 35 minutes. It's not broken, so it doesn't really extend the time that you have to be here and conduct city business. So if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. It's fine the way it is. There are a few times that the community comes and speaks. And that's when we have to be here. A lot of people come, but most of the time, you get to go home early. I saw the report, you're comparing Cerritos to other cities. Let's not be average. Cerritos is better than the other cities. Try to aim high, not low. We don't want to be the average. And I see that it's already 3 minutes, and it says 5 minutes, and this is really hard to be a resident and come to speak when you had to cut us, and now you're going to move us to the end. I came here so I could speak in public comments. I got some important things to talk to you and to the community. And I was lucky that I found the videos. You cut the videos?
Mel, your 3 minutes is over, sorry. Thank you. Any other speaker?
So, how did we know this was going to happen? It's been like a graveyard
Can you
here.
please fix the timer?
A morgue in this place for so long. I think the last time I was here was during the Gascon recall.
I'm sorry,
where-
I'm sorry. Our public comments are 5 minutes unless we, as a council, come to consensus that they're 3 minutes. Mel Cortez got 5 minutes, so I don't know why
No,
they're
Mel
cutting.
did not get 5 minutes. He got 3 minutes.
He didn't- Okay,
Thank you.
but the council didn't come to a consensus to reduce it to 3.
If I may, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, the 3-minute limit is actually in the protocol. The 3 minutes is what, and has been identified on the agenda. So consensus wasn't needed for that particular modification as that's already in the protocol manual.
But in
and was
each
on
of
the
our
agenda.
meetings where we've had to move it to the end and then reduce it to 3, we kind of had to come to consensus. So coming into this meeting, as far as I know, it's still 5 minutes. Unless said so.
On the agenda, it's noted as
Mr. City Attorney, it is not specified as 3 minutes in the protocol manual. It says between 3 and 5 minutes in the protocol manual.
You
It
have to
doesn't
tell the
specific-
attorney that?
Yeah, and then the language of our meeting agenda that's publicized suggests that it may be limited to 3 minutes. So that suggests or implies that it's 5 minutes, but it may be limited to 3 minutes.
That's correct, Councilmember Yokoyama. The protocol manual says that public comments may be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 5 minutes, with the time allotted not to exceed 45 minutes for public comment. But the agenda noted that it's for 3 minutes for this meeting.
It has the exact same language that's in the protocol manual. Verbal comments may be limited to 3 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker.
And that's the prerogative of the chair to be able to limit the time limits when it's on the agenda, that's what can be applied.
So you're saying there's no vote necessary, no consensus necessary. There has to, Naresh doesn't have to ask for consensus. It's up to the prerogative of the chair.
That's correct.
Okay, so there's no need in the future to ask for consensus to put it at 3 minutes or 5 minutes. It's at the discretion of Naresh.
That's correct.
Thank you.
At some point, somebody's got to notify the rest of the council and the audience what we're doing tonight. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, there's got to be some kind of announcement.
Councilmember Johnson, to correct, the protocol manual and the agenda provide those parameters. So that's the notice to the public and the announcement for everybody who attends the meeting. Generally, under the protocol manual and within Rosenberg's Rules of Procedure, the conducting of the meeting is within the prerogative of the mayor as the presiding officer. When items are going to be reordered, such as moving any item out of the item in the order that's listed on the agenda, our protocol manual specifically says that it needs to have a consensus of those attending the meeting to do that. But other than a specific direction to that effect, the presiding officer, the mayor, or in the mayor's absence, Mayor Pro Tem, have the authority in general to conduct the meeting.
My apologies, Ms. Villa, for interrupting you.
I'm still confused. Just today, actually, and it can be verified. I met with a neighbor.
You have to speak on item 9B.
Yes, I'm getting there.
Thank you.
9B, or 3 to 5 minutes, is that where we're on now?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. And a gentleman who can't get here. He's physically incapable of being here. And he didn't even know. He said that his wife, a neighbor, someone at the senior center told him that the comments are being cut. Why? He's lived here 37 years, he said. Why are the comments being cut? I said, I don't know, but I could suggest that you reach out to our mayor because we want to know as well. We want to know that. Why you leave the elderly sitting here after hours till 11 o'clock at night. We want to know that. Why it creates such a hardship for people that come with their families. Now you're putting another person that she mentioned on the back end, like all of us working class that have to sit here, and we will. Some of us work PM, some of us work overnight. My message today on an app was Nextdoor, where I never visit, but it was highly recommended that I leave a comment, so I did, and this is it. Not sure how many of you Cerritos residents are aware of the lack of transparency at the City Hall under Mayor Bruce Barrows and our current mayor, Naresh Solanki, who are hiding public comment from the community since March. That was under Bruce Barrows. In addition to that public comment at the back end late into the hours. This does not serve the constitutional interest of we the people. This appears to be the violation of a Brown Act, but we're having discussion here. Perhaps it is, perhaps it isn't, I don't know. It is sad that this sleepy city of Cerritos has been woken. I seen yesterday some Zionist pigs out in front of your city hall who were flipping us off, giving the universal peace sign, and decided to flip us off and call us fucking this and fucking that.
You're not talking about 9B.
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
you're right. I did.
Thank you.
Yes, I did veer off. Yeah. So I hope there's some deep consideration for this. I know that there was a complaint sent into the city. I know of 2 complaints. And that was a week and a half ago. So I don't know if this is a result of it. Perhaps. I don't know. But I guess I'll close it there, and I'll save the rest for later. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juan Martinez. I am the delegate of the 64th District, and I represent 8 cities. Everything that I say relates to this. First off, the city attorney reducing the minutes from 5 to 3. That's opening you up for legal liability, since not all meetings have opened up like that. This assumption that we just need to follow the mayor's whim is without public announcement is very unprofessional and lacks transparency. So I would definitely, I'm gonna look into this and I'll be sending you a letter on that. I wrote a violation in regards to the public comment about a week ago, and you guys have been censoring and omitting it from the public record on your city's page. Let me be clear, the city's page is a public forum. So when you edit and omit public record, you are in violation of the law. So I want to make it very clear that I wrote you up for that violation, and I will follow up with a second letter. I want to also let you know that I will be writing up your city attorney for that violation, because they have failed to advise you, failed to prevent the violation, and like I heard today from the 5 to 3 minute, attempted to justify unethical behaviors, all which are unethical in principle and can be written up. If we had to go after your bonds, to file claims against your bonds, I am more than willing to do that as well. You need to move the public comment to the beginning, because public comment is the enemy of all corrupt individuals in power. The reason that you don't want it in the beginning is because people like me come here and criticize all your shortcomings and your violations, and we point it out. You want people to leave and this chamber to be empty for when I address what's wrong with your service and your ineptitude. I don't expect you to move it to the front. I think you're dirty enough to keep it towards the end of the meeting, but at least I'm telling you right now that we see right through you. Do the right thing, and you need to respond within 10 to 15 days on my first violation. I'm waiting.
Anyone else like to speak on item 9B?
Honorable Mayor, Council, friends, and hopefully individuals who are watching at home. In 2019, when Council voted 5-0 for 5 minutes, and since then till today, we have not seen the type of censorship from anyone else except from you, Mayor. And I understand that reason we are doing this is governing city council meetings for the purpose of enhancing meeting efficiency. How is it working out? Now imagine every time there is a line item and 5 of us speak for 3 minutes. Mel, friends, every time they speak and say if public has a comment, we come and speak and give our opinion on that one specific line item. That is civic disobedience. Under the name of efficiency to help our city, of course. Censor us, we take your time. You take our time, we give you our time. And this is going to keep on going until we figure out what is efficiency for our city and what it means to give 5 minutes to our residents. We want to help you with your efficiency. We don't want to sit here and give you 3 minutes multiply by 5 times for 9 items every single time. But if we want to, we can. And if you ask us to not do it, do you think we'll follow? No. We'll come and we'll give you every second you deserve until and unless you choose to explain why this censorship. What are we afraid of? I mean, there has to be a logical reason. It's not efficiency. We just showed it. So as a resident, non-elected individual, non-appointed individual, a friend of all of you, I want us to be efficient, sir. And I'll be here speaking for 3 minutes, if you want, until 2 o'clock in the morning. And I will have enough friends and colleagues who will follow me. Is this what we want? Tonight is your call, because this is where the game is. We want efficiency, and we want to help you, Mayor. Let us help you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, City of Cerritos. My name is Fernando Islas. I'm a lifelong Angelino, Marine Corps veteran, served this country from 2006 to 2010, to include deployment to Fallujah, Iraq. Yeah, this is really like the first city that I'm seeing around here that is censoring their council meetings. I don't really see that happening in other cities around here. And yeah, I'm just here to denounce and express my condemnation for the lack of transparency. That's not what I understood I took an oath for. I understood this is America, and transparency is part of this country. But that's pretty much what I want to express. I condemn, fully condemn you guys censoring the people.
Good evening. My name is Sophia Tse. I am resident of Cerritos, 16810, Cerritos Harvest Avenue. I'm here for the item exactly. What I'm reading, you have posts this one, usually 72 hours posted to public. Under page 2, on public comments and suggestion, that you stated to the public, verbal comments may be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, within a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. This is the public, what we see here. Then we should follow that, unless, like council member mentioned, that unless you made the additional changes during your council meeting. So this public comment posted 72 hours. If you change anything, have to brought back in here to council meeting to change that. On page 2.
Anyone else like to speak on item 9B? Seeing none, we'll close the public comments time, bring it back for the council for any more comments or questions.
Have comment?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so here's my take on public comments. They are a part of the business, the official business of the city. This is where, for the most part, where we as a council get to hear from the residents we serve about issues that impact our neighbors, our seniors, and our youth. And in some instances, with council consensus, we are able to address and resolve issues that our residents are facing. For example, at our last meeting, Howard Sachs, a senior who is a Cerritos resident that resides at the Ivy, which is the assisted living facility located next to Cerritos College, came and addressed this council about issues he had at the facility. This is the facility where he lives and calls his home. Howard doesn't drive, so he had to find a ride over to our city council chambers so that he can come and participate in a public meeting. This is how important it is for him. In fact, right after he spoke last week, Kristen was able to talk to him and let him know she was going to look into that issue. But unfortunately for Howard, he had to wait almost 2 hours to speak under the public comment section to address this council. Is this what we as a council want to do to our residents? I think all 5 of us up here at some point have encouraged a resident we serve, that if they wanted to speak and address the council, that we told them to come to the meeting and speak under public comments. I know I do. I encourage residents to come and speak to our meetings all the time. In the past 6 or 7 months, we've had speakers that have addressed this council on a particular subject matter. Under the Brown Act, these speakers, just like resident Howard Sachs, have a right to address this council. But in recent meetings, the agenda has been reordered so that all individuals speaking under non-agenda items under public comments are now heard at the end of the meeting with the video and audio turned off. I thought it was a temporary issue, but now that I see here in this staff report that we are to consider moving public comments to the end and to turn off the video and the audio, I think this is a reactionary move, and it is an injustice to our own residents as it impacts all of them. Residents now must wait 2 to 3 hours just to voice their concerns. And for our audience at home, this does not do them any justice either. They want to hear public comments. Just think of Howard. He brought up the issue of Southern California Edison turning off the power at his assisted living facility. Just think, with his public comments, how many others out there heard him and maybe had the same issue as well. So public comments are helpful, not just to us, but to our neighbors. As a deputy to Supervisor Janice Hahn, it was my job to watch council meetings of other cities. I know some cities do move their public comments to the end and turn off the video and audio. But just because they do it doesn't mean we have to do it. In fact, I have not seen or heard from other councils where they experience public comments impacting their ability to conduct their meetings. To be honest, at first I thought it would be reasonable to move public comments to the end, but now that I have personally seen our residents, especially for our seniors, having to stay for the duration of the meeting to voice their concerns, it's not the right thing to do. Why are we treating our residents this way? Me personally, I like public comments. I can listen to public comments all day long. These meetings are not just for us, council members, it's for residents as well. Public comments offers us to get a pulse of the city. Why wouldn't you want to hear it in the beginning of a meeting with the video and audio on? You know, for me, sometimes I have to go back to the tape just to get clarification what's said, because that's how you help residents. Thank you to Vita and Bill. I appreciate your hard work on this staff report. However, I am not inclined to believe what is stated in the report, that public comments can have an impact on meeting efficiency. It quotes that there is a delay for the members of the public, permit applicants, or other interested parties from having their respective business items heard, unquote. In fact, in the past, we've had a speaker or presentation moved up in the meeting just to accommodate them. The council can always reorder the agenda. I'm not in support of amending our protocol manual just for the purpose of placing public comments at the end, which would also include turning off the video and the audio. This is not what I was elected to do. I support having our public comments early in the agenda report and that all speakers are captured on video and audio. Thank you. That's my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So, my overall approach to this matter is that the responsibilities of the city council members and the city council include listening to public comment. And while what's been going on here for the last couple meetings of cutting the time for the public to speak and moving it to the end of the meeting, moving public comment to the end of the meeting, and cutting off the cameras when the rest of the meeting is televised and streamed and recorded, while it might be unconstitutional, it definitely, without a doubt, violates the spirit of our Constitution of the United States of America. And I'm glad that this agenda report puts before the public Chapter 8 of the Protocol Manual, City Council Meetings, because this document that was passed by a previous City Council, shows that this Protocol Manual has worked for our city and the residents and the public and the City Council for going on 12 years now. And for some reason, a couple of months ago, the majority on this City Council has had an anti-constitutional, hyper-reactionary response to the public wanting to speak at our City Council meetings. But I look at this attachment, Chapter 8, City Council Meetings of the Protocol Manual, and I'm confused why, when I reviewed this, I was confused why are we stopping the cameras? Because of a vote of a majority of the council members. Now, I always voted no to stopping the cameras. I've always voted no to stopping the cameras. I've always voted no to moving public comment to the end of the meeting. And I've always voted no to reducing the time, going all the way back to 2019. Because, like my colleague, Councilmember Johnson, we believe it's fundamental that the public has the right to public comment. But I look at this attachment, Chapter 8, and while Section 8.09 regarding order of business expressly provides for the discretion of a simple majority to change the order of the order of business, that language in 8.09 providing for a change of the order by a majority of the council, that language is not in 8.08. 8.08 regarding video, DVD, web streaming, and audio recording of meetings has no similar language. So why is the council, if 8.09 has language allowing for the majority of the council to change the order, since there's no such language for the majority to affect the video and DVD and web streaming and audio recording of meetings, there's no language allowing for that to be changed by a majority of the council, I'm confused why the city attorney and the city manager and the city clerk have been allowing the cameras to be shut off because a majority of the council has been saying, let's shut off the camera, when 8.08 doesn't allow for that. Okay, well, maybe there's some language somewhere in this protocol manual that allows a majority to do that. Then what it's saying is the protocol manual doesn't matter. Because if a majority of the council can change anything in the protocol manual at any time, any place, anywhere, why do we even have a protocol manual to follow? I think that there was a wise city council years ago that put together this protocol manual, and they understood that public comment is fundamental to a democratic society. And they put that in the preamble of Chapter 8, City Council meetings. And I'm going to read it. This is attached to this agenda report. And I hope this City Council and the City Attorney and the City Clerk and the City Manager and the residents of Cerritos understand the importance of this preamble to protecting the fundamental right to public comment in our city of Cerritos. It says, the opportunity for citizens to be heard, the availability of local officials to the citizenry, and the openness of council meetings all lend themselves to the essential democratic nature of local government, period. That's what a previous city council understood was the importance of these city council meetings. And it's really a shame that for some reactionary reason, we're considering today changing Chapter 8 and going against the preamble of this Chapter 8, which protects the public's right to be heard and transparency and the spirit of the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Frank, thank you for the compliments. I'm the one that wrote the protocol manual in its entirety. There was one small section that a council member hung up on, which has nothing to do with this. And it took us about a year and a half to prove it. The part that, the reaction is that we're reacting to the situation in the Middle East, and it has nothing to do with it. When I look at, I'm the one that proposed that we broadcast our council meetings way back at the start. And we were the third city in the state to broadcast our meetings in its entirety. Same thing with the publishing of our budget and so forth on our website, to move transparency forward. The cities, like Lakewood, when the young man stated that no one around us has done this, the other cities have, the city that we neighbor has. And the comments that I've received over the years was the fact that the public comments dealt with city issues, for them. And in our case, ours was largely the same. But over the last number of years, what we've seen is those that use public comments to further their business opportunities, to advertise their business. We have those that during campaigns come up and campaign from here. There's nothing that says that we should even allow it. It's illegal to use government facilities for campaigning. And we had a email that we all received, pointing out that they're glad to see that we're putting forward this. We only had 2 or 3 people that emailed us over this whole section. And yet there's been meetings that when I was mayor, we packed out the room on a couple of issues. And one meeting in public comments ran for 2 nights. And we allowed it. And I've always allowed people to go beyond 5 minutes if they were, talking about something of, community interest, and they weren't repeating themselves. And if you go back and you look at Brian Tom, that came and spoke about disability issues, it's something that affected within the budget. I think I allowed him to go right about 9 or 10 minutes. And I didn't go back and time it, but I think you'll find out it sits right there somewhere. the other part is we have folks that come, just because it's being broadcast, they want to be on TV. And, all of us, the thing is that it costs us a lot of money when we have consultants here, to discuss contractual obligations that we're looking to enter, and they're here so they can answer questions. So I've been in favor of moving this more from Washington the last few years because the mores of society have changed. I have no problem having anybody come up and speak on, as they're allowed, anything that they wish to speak. But I don't think we need to make everybody wait to do city business that we are here expressly to do. And, for us to say that this is unconstitutional, it's not unconstitutional. And our wannabe lawyer is one that he can go ahead and file what he wants, but there's nothing illegal about this. So in my case, I do support this, and just let it go forward at this point.
Okay.
And I'll make a motion for that.
Okay. Anyone else?
I just have a quick comment. I just want to point out Howard Sachs, the senior that lives at the Ivy, the assisted living facility, is here again tonight. He's got to wait 2 or 3 hours just to address on non-agenda items. It's shameful that he has to sit here and wait.
Okay, you already mentioned that, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll second the motion. Madam Clerk, would you conduct roll call?
What was the motion?
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you. We have not yet had a motion on the floor.
No, I made a motion for the staff, not staff recommendation, but to go ahead and move this to the end.
Okay, can we if possible, if we could get some specificity on this item, so.
Okay, to move the public comments to the end.
On non-agenda items.
On non-agenda items, and to leave the camera off.
No broadcasting.
Can I get clarification on moving to the end? Is that like 9? I mean, is that like after 10, 11, 12? What number in the agenda?
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, if I may, I'm going to get that section right in front of me. And so we have Order of Business 8.09, and currently public comments and suggestions on non-agenda items is number 6.
Okay, after 11B, we're going to put it.
After item 11, which would be legislative items, and before City Council communications, or what would the council's preference be?
My motion would be after 11. Because, the reports from the council members, I think when they're required by state law that we do discuss our attending conferences, meetings, whatever it may be, and where we're at, that should be, before the public.
And then just to clarify, I think our agenda has slightly been amended over the years, so it doesn't follow this particular numbering, but it would be after the City Council Communications Committee reports and report on meetings.
Correct.
Okay.
So after council comments, then the public can speak?
Yes, that at least is, I think, is the
That's
motion
what-
on the floor.
So that's like after number 11.
Well, irrespective, after number 11 on our current agenda, yes. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's so shameful.
Is this a motion despite the protocol manual, or this is a motion to amend the protocol manual?
If I may, the staff report pointed out it would be a motion to amend the protocol manual immediately. And to address that question, Councilor Yokoyama, that you did bring up, it is within the prerogative of the council at any time to bring up the protocol manual and either modify existing protocol sections or suspend or waive for a particular meeting. That is always within the prerogative of the council to amend or not apply a particular section.
Just trying to wrap my head around what you said. So it is always the prerogative of a majority of the council at any time to amend the protocol manual or to waive the protocol manual at any time.
To bring it up, yes. Yes, that's always a prerogative of the council because the protocol manual is purely a city-based council-adopted document.
Thank you.
I just kind of wanted to address, like, I think Bruce was concerned because people come and campaign, advertise a business, but the mayor can certainly cut them off within the first few seconds.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. Once you start the public comments, you can't cut them off.
Don't we have a cap on public comments? Is it a cap of 45 minutes total?
Yes, there currently is in the protocol manual.
So this council can't sit for 45 minutes in the beginning just to listen to the public?
Okay, we have motion and I second that.
Thank you. The motion has been made by Councilmember Barrows and seconded by Mayor Solanke. At this time, the electronic voting will be activated.
Mayor Pro Tem Bo, I do not see your vote.
Oh, no. You know we ain't gonna vote no.
And the motion does not pass by a vote of 2-3.
Wonderful.
Okay, so that 9B is over, we'll bring it back to the
And at this time, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, it would be item number 6.
okay. Do you have a consensus to move that item right now at the end?
I'd say based on the vote, it should be right here.
Okay, all right. So we'll start with the public comments. Do we have a speakers, Madam Clerk? First we have is Sam Desai.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. Is it 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Small things at a time. For me, this is indeed a historic night. I had my prejudices, I had my fears, and a couple of people absolutely surprised me. And first, I would like to say thank you to Linda Johnson, to Frank, and Chango. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you. Mr. Barrows, I was fortunate here to listen to you as to why you wanted your contractors, and I'm using the word your contractors, your vendors, your commercial interest ahead of all of us. Thank you. I needed to hear that. That surprised me because I had always truly believed that you stood for all of us. What changed? 45 minutes? And again, you choose to say you're doing it for the efficiency. Is this what you had created for all of us, sir? United against you. And I'm thankful that at least this council saved this council and this city's integrity. We are just not any other town. And you guys are absolutely at each other's throats. I get that. But today, you made me believe again that my time is worth it, and everyone who shares their constructive feedback to you is not a complaint. It's our right. And I really want to say, it may sound whatever, but you guys did something amazing today. And I really want to say thank you. It takes courage to vote the way you did. And of course, you get to stand with your principles. But I do have to say, I do want my 2 minutes back. It's not over yet.
You're not going to get it tonight.
It's going to happen, if not tonight, maybe tomorrow night, maybe next month. But Mayor, mark my words, Cerritos will get our 5 minutes back. And thank you.
Case Vanderlyn.
Good evening, Case Van Linden, resident since 1971. I've seen a lot of stuff, but tonight I must say the big dog and pony show. Let me just make a comment on what I wanted to talk about. I like to talk about the fact that I feel there is lack of follow-up on some of our projects. And in my case, the reforestation that happened in our street. I sent an email out today. You probably... Okay. Bring this thing up then. You got it? Okay. Anyhow, the reforestation work that was done in our street, the project had a lot of pitfalls, and probably some of you guys that had communications with me know what I'm talking about. But right now I'm talking about the fact that we have a number of dead trees in the street. They need to be replaced. Someone needs to do something about it. It is atrocious to see that what's going on right now. And it's not a matter of that they're not being watered or what have you. Maybe that is a factor. But hey, in 1972, when you planted those pine trees, there was no watering of those pine trees. And those pine trees grew no problem. Now you have a bunch of trees that half of them are dead. So you got to follow through and make good on that. I know that in the cul-de-sac right across from our house, there were 3 trees replaced about 2 months before you started the reforestation. 1 tree died and it's never been replaced. I know that the owner has contacted you folks and with no result. That is lack of follow-through. That's all what I want to say. On the note of this whole discussion, all what I can say is the public comment should come from residents about Cerritos business, and that should be the end of the public comments. Right now, you are making a lot of noise about a lot of things, and I know the direction that you all want to go, but the bottom line is it should be public comments from residents, not from non-residents. And it should be Cerritos business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have Jay Mehta.
Honorary Mayor, respective city council members and staff, my name is Jay Mehta. I want to briefly speak to you about the benefits of building pickleball courts, so we're going to liven up the mood a little bit. First, I just want to quickly say...
We have that as agenda item.
This is agenda item, so wait.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Mel Cortez.
Thank you, Mel Cortez, Cerritos resident, and thank you so much for not making me wait until 11 p.m. I'm here to speak about Ordinance 9.66.020, leaf blowers. In 2016, I sent an email about the ordinance. Right now, leaf blowers are allowed weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So when the gardeners come, they're not allowed to use leaf blowers during that time. And in 2016, when I sent the email, I was told that they will look into it. So leaf blowers are allowed to be used, but then the noise from every other equipment that the gardeners have is used. There's nothing that says they cannot use it. It's still noisy. I think most residents don't mind on weekdays when they come at 7. But Saturdays, sometimes our gardeners come at 7 a.m. making noise. And the ordinance for leaf blowers is 9 a.m. I'm not sure why only leaf blowers and not lawnmowers or any other equipment. So I'll resend the email again, trying to see if there's anything that could be done about that noise. Sundays is 11 a.m., but again, Sundays, a lot of gardeners come at 7 a.m. making noise. On hours of construction, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, 10 a.m. But again, we have a lot of people that are doing construction and do things for the house, and construction people come at 7 a.m. waking people up. Sundays, no construction, but you still have some people. I assume that the people that don't follow the rules don't have permits. So I'm not sure who we call when that happens, probably the sheriff. Third thing, I was walking through a sculpture garden early today, and the statues are really nice, but there's nothing that says what they are. No information about the artist, the name of the statue. I think only Statue of Freedom has a plaque. So there's no information. So we walk by, I know it's on the website, but we walk by and we have no idea what they are, who made it, how long it's been there. So I suggest that maybe not a plaque, could be expensive, but maybe a QR code at the entrance, at each entrance, where people could scan and have a map of the sculptures in the sculpture garden. That will help us to know what each of the statues are there, how long they've been there, and the artist. So maybe that's something that that could be helpful to
Mel,
all of
your
us.
time is up, Mel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was a lot nicer to wait this long.
All right. May?
Naresh, if you don't mind, I think Mel brings up a very good point, especially about the sculpture. I wanted to just point out from the days when I was on the planning commission, these changing hours that construction, lawnmowers, we've had a difference, they're not in harmony. Maybe we can have the planning commission, look at that, have staff, help review it. But the sculpture garden is, I know we have a problem with theft of the small bronze plaques. Every city in the country does. But, the idea that, maybe use a QR code that we can just scan and have the information more about the artist and date and so forth. If there's a way that we can do that, I would like to see, that go before the Fine Arts Committee and have it come back to council at some point in the near future.
Agree.
If
Yes.
we have a consensus for that.
Yes. Okay. May?
Hello, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak before you today. I won't go into detail about all the great work that the Cerritos Chamber does for businesses, such as providing ample opportunities for networking and growth. We have around 15 board members, each bringing wealth of experience and numerous ideas to the table. However, there's a significant difference between brainstorming ideas and implementing them. And just me as their full-time staff member and 2 part-time that work only 10 hours a week, we need your help and your support to move forward. We have made progress this year and provided a business plan and our taxes as requested. We would request continued support from the city's continued support from the city being city's economic arm to accomplish our goals and ideas for years to come. I'd like to just tell you about our upcoming events really fast, and everyone is welcome to attend. On the 29th of this month, we have a nonprofit summit with the Seal Beach Chamber and also Los Alamitos Chamber. and that again is on May 29th from 11 a.m. to 1:30. We have Jeans and Java, which is at a new location in Cerritos. It's called 7 Syllabus Coffee, and that's free for anybody to attend. Just call the chamber, and we'll add you to the guest list. Bring business cards. Actually, it is free, but bring $1 because we like to put that in a cup and pass it around, and everyone has a chance to give their 30-second speech, elevator speech, excuse me. Ooh. And then after that, on Wednesday, June 12th, we are thrilled to announce the 2024 State of the City Luncheon scheduled for Wednesday, June 12th. The Cerritos Chamber will be joined that day by the Honorable Mayor Naresh Solanki and City Manager Robert Lopez at the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts. Please go to our website. It has all the information, and their sponsorship is available also. On the 26th of June, we have our Chamber Board Installation and Business Awards. We'll be announcing Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year, Business Person of the Year, Ambassador of the Year, Volunteer of the Year, and the Jim Edwards Memorial Award. And last but not least, on Thursday, June 27th, we are having a 2024 Summer Mixer with some of our other local chambers, and that will be at the Placentia Roundtable Women's Club, and you can go to our website to find more information about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Next we have is the delegates of 64.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juan Martinez. I am the delegate of the 64th District. I represent 8 cities. I want to snap back at Mr. Barrows for making the comment that the wannabe attorney can file whatever he wants. I'll have you know that the last city council or board that thought the same way you did, I had them sit through a Brown Act class, and their attorney was actually put on paid leave. So play around, and with stupid games, get stupid prizes. I want to go back to what you also said about public comment not being moved. Look, I can't figure out if you're misleading the public or if you're just ignorant. I'm willing to consider both. Moving the public comment towards the end of the meeting, not illegal. You can do that. Everyone knows that. Censoring public comment, which is preventing the audio and the video from being available to the public. Censoring is a violation of the Brown Act. It's a violation of free speech, and it negates a lot of your ethical duties that you're supposed to uphold. So let's go. I have a list of a few that we can identify right here, so we can go through it right now real quick for you to get informed. The government cannot censor speech. That happens when we do the Brown Act, when we do public comment. You get called out for the things you're doing. And obviously, if you are omitting public comment, you are censoring speech that is critical of you. There's a few ways that can manifest. Censoring in the sense that we have the right to criticize you under the Brown Act. And since it is a page online that's a public forum, you're also violating online publishing. You're not supposed to omit criticism on your public forums and on your personal pages. So that would be another violation. It's clearly discrimination. And how I know it's clearly discrimination is because you just submitted, in your own words, into the public record, a statement that you are doing it for the benefit and interest of your investors and to not lose money. So today you've admitted that you are putting your investors and your financial interests in front of the public's interests, which is also a violation to the public. Thank you for admitting how corrupt you are. Again, I will file these violations, and again, I look forward to educating you more. And if you think that you're gonna hide behind your city attorney, I welcome you. I welcome you to think that you're gonna get away with that. It hasn't worked for anyone else in the past. Look me up. I worked with the ACLU in the past, so bring it on.
Thank you. Margaret Villa.
I'm actually pretty much still numb with your vote, Vo. Really, we were super pleased. I'm over the moon. You did the right thing, all of you, except you two. Nareesh, you seemed a little bitter. You showed your true colors again because you responded to one of your constituents when he walked away. And that's in poor taste. Yeah. I came here to say I wanted to, of course, speak on adopting a resolution, a ceasefire resolution. I come here, and that is my main purpose because I want peace throughout. But I must say the role of a mayor, I was reading about it, and the consensus was it was 5 critical points. And one of the 2 critical points about the role of a mayor, or its duty or its leadership, is to address its constituents' concerns. And I don't feel that that has been done here in the last 22 weeks that I have been coming here. With an abundance of emails that have been sent, over 400, I heard. I was just 400 to, what's the negative? I don't know, 2, 5, 7, 10, 50. But you still don't think it's a concern that we should address it, adopt a resolution, and put ourselves on the map. Kudos to Redmond, California for going above and beyond way before. Kudos to Pasadena, who welcomes with open arms 500 people showed up to Pasadena. And guess what they did? They did outdoor seating. They wanted everyone to speak. Everybody that pulled a card, 200 people spoke, and we all got a minute. And guess what? They showed humanity. They voted on a ceasefire resolution. Pasadena. I was thinking Cerritos will be, everybody told me it ain't gonna happen, not with Bruce Burrows as mayor. And then Nareesh comes, takes a seat, and we got the same thing. Won't even put it up for a vote to let his constituents see where you stand. Perhaps you should check your vendors, who you do business with, and divest anyone that's supporting a live stream genocide. Maybe we can do a little difference there. There are other ways to
Time is up, Margaret. Thank you. Fernando Isles.
Good evening, City of Cerritos. Once again, my name is Fernando Islas, Marine Corps veteran. Served this country from 2006 to 2010, 7-month deployment to Fallujah, Iraq. First off, I want to say thank God I don't have to wait till the end of the meeting to speak. I brought my daughter. My daughter's 11. She's got a bedtime. I just didn't want to go past her bedtime. I'm here to teach her about democracy. So I want to thank those that voted to reject suppressing your constituents, the people. And I say that because myself right now, I'm battling, I'm from Pico Rivera. I'm battling the school district there, Arancho Unified School District, and that's exactly what they did. May 7th, before May 7th, everything was live streamed. We start speaking up. This last one, you can check on YouTube. It's not even available right now. They're not liking what we're saying. Anyway, want to congratulate the Boy Scouts. I think it's ironic though that that you guys hold award ceremonies for children, especially BIPOC children. They're all BIPOC, but yet you guys are yet to try to save BIPOC lives out in Palestine. And what is also disturbing, what is also even more disturbing actually, is that with an exception of previous Mayor Burrows, you guys are all BIPOC as well. So what I want to point out, what I want to mention is, without, with an exception of former Mayor Barrows, you guys all turn brown in the sun. He's the only one that turns red. And I hate to make it about race, but this is exactly what it is, right? And this is coming from a Marine. This is coming from a Marine, right? We've all woken up. We all have our eyes open. This is about white supremacy, about U.S. imperialism, about colonization. They're trying to take their land. They've been taking their land. They're trying to take the rest of it. They've done it to the Afghans. They did it to the Iraqis. And now the difference is it's being live streamed. We can see it with our eyes. Dismembered bodies, babies being blown to bits. They're being starved. They're being displaced. 39,675 Palestinians confirmed killed at the hands of the terrorist state of Israel. 43,640 if we consider those presumed under the rubble. 15,971 being children, 10,382 being women. And this was reported on May 13th. I'm sure they've climbed. What if this was your mother? What if this was your child? Yeah, you guys Mayor Barrows doesn't have a stronghold on you guys anymore.
Thank you.
Do the right thing, ceasefire.
Thank you, Fernando. Next we have is the Anjika Morari.
Hello, I'm Anjika. I'm a Cerritos resident, and I have been practicing yoga for a few years now, and then I finally went to India to learn yoga for myself, and I learned about it in a way that I hadn't anywhere before, which is, yoga is a way of life, and it goes beyond postures and asanas. The end goal is to reach your mind and to build a stable mind, and so you can go throughout your own life with more ease. And so after coming back and graduating school, I decided to open up my own yoga school here called Sankalpa Yoga Shala. And there's intention behind it because I really think yoga can be used as a tool for health and bliss for all, because it takes you within yourself. So my intention is to teach it in a very accessible way. It's a local business opening here in Artesia and Cerritos area. It's also available online. So I would just wanted to share this, and it's coming directly from Mysore, the teachings, which is something, it goes beyond yoga as a physical exercise or that exercise mentality. It's called a shala because it's a place of education, and it's meant to teach you things that will help you go through your own life with ease. So I just wanted to share. It's opening starting June 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. You have some flyers, maybe you can just give it to the staff member. Next we have is Howard Sache. Sachs, sorry.
Sachs. I'm the one that Councilmember Johnson was talking about. I want to say I walked here. I'm a senior only, and I hate the term senior. I'm not a senior. I think most all of you would be considered seniors if you're over 55. Councilmember Vo probably is close, maybe not quite there yet. By the way, I knew Councilmember Yokoyama and Councilmember Johnson would do the right thing. I want to thank you, Councilmember Vo, for doing the right thing. Thank you. Now, I don't mind staying late. Councilmember Johnson takes me back, so I don't mind. But for some of these people, yes, it's a hardship for them. They have a right. And yes, democracy is messy, but it's our form of government because authoritarianism succeeds in the dark. How do you hold back authoritarianism? You shine the light on it. That's how you defeat authoritarianism. I wish a couple of you would understand that. Okay, I've come quickly to talk about Ivy, which I came last time to talk about. I was glad that Councilmember Johnson brought me back. She was able to see, because I can explain what it looks like, but unless you see it, it's a whole different thing. And I think it kind of, oh wow, this place is completely dark. It's a place where I'm a complete outlier. If everyone was like me, it wouldn't be that big a deal, but they're not. These are 80, 90-year-old people, and they were in the dark. And while, thank goodness, there were no serious injuries, many people did not sleep that night. They were too nervous. Many of them couldn't go to the bathroom. They had to hold it in for 2 to 3 hours because they were afraid in the dark they would fall in their bathrooms. We've got to make certain this doesn't happen again. That's number one. Number two, I want to bring up very quickly, and she gave me the permission to say this. We have a 92-year-old resident named Pat Moreno. She is forced to move because they have upped her rent to $9,000 a month. She gets no care. She lives in a one-bedroom. Yes, she has some money. I don't think she's a multimillionaire. She had to move. The reason she went to Ivy, her son lives 5 minutes away. She did find another place for about $6,000 a month, a little over. It's in West Covina. Now her son, to see her, will have to drive 40 to 45 minutes. He lives in Norwalk. She's now going to be, June 11th, moving from the Ivy in Cerritos all the way to West Covina. That's what I want to bring. I don't know if you can do anything, but I want to shine a light on what we're dealing with there. While she's going to leave,
Howard, your time is up, sir.
I understand. This should not happen to anyone else being forced out.
Before you go, Naresh, do you mind if I ask a question? Really, when we built the facility, we put, I want to say roughly $8 or $9 million into it out of redevelopment funds. So, we're going back more than 12 years ago. Do you remember what year the facility was built?
2002.
Okay, so it's 22 years old. The contracts that were entered into based on federal law, they were restricted to a federal formula and state on how much they can raise their rents there. This sounds like that's in a violation. Okay, I'm saying, based on my experience, because I was sitting here when it happened, and I'm the one that took a class in Harvard on affordable housing. That's where the projects we have came from. Can we check and find out if the terms that they were entered into originally from the original owner, which was to be passed on to subsequent owners, and the facility is not next to the college, it's on the college property.
Yes.
And they're held accountable to the same terms. And the college, I know, controls it, but we do have some legal oversight based on prior contracts.
Yes, that's what I want.
If I may, Mayor, members of the City Council, there are covenants in place with that property in connection with the city's original investment in the project. Staff would be happy to reach out and confirm the situation. I do know that some of the units are subsidized. It may be the case that the resident in question may be living in an unsubsidized unit, but we'd be happy to reach out and confirm that. And we can report back to the council with a memo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Jay Mehta.
Honorary Mayor, respective City Council and staff. I grew up in Santa Fe Springs as a child, and all my friends lived in this city. And I spent a great deal amount of time here. And I was so jealous of them for living in such a wonderful city. And it took me 47 years to finally move here. And today, you made that decision well worth it for me. So thank you all for the decisions you made today. The reason for me being up here is, as an avid biker, I've noticed there's not as many bike lanes as I'd like to see in this city. And I'd like for you all to really consider that. And there's also one over the overpass on Shoemaker, right after Artesia. There's no bike lane there, and then it starts from, I think from 183rd over. And when I take that ride up there, it's kind of dangerous because there's a lot of fast driving cars going that way, and they're trying to get on that freeway on the 91. But there's plenty of other areas of Cerritos that don't have any bike lanes. With the increase of electric bikes and scooters and so on, I think it's important that we consider this for the safety of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the names we have. Anyone else like to speak on public comments? If it's not, we will close the public comments period, bring it back with the council for the
Can I make a comment, please, Mr. Mayor?
sorry?
Can I get consensus to ask the city manager to direct staff to look into the dead trees that Mr. Vander Linden was referring to and provide a response to him?
Certainly.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
And if I may comment, Public Works staff has already initiated efforts to address that, but we will report back.
Next item is the consent calendar.
Move to
Can
approve.
we move 7B, please?
Take the 7B out.
You know, I was going to say remove it, excuse me.
Remove it, okay.
Which 7B?
Consent calendar item 7B.
There's B.1, 7B.2.
You want all together 7B?
I want 7B.1, it's just number 1.
Okay. Do we have a motion accept the 7.B.1?
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, I believe there was a request by Councilmember Barros to pull item 7B.1 for separate consideration, and I think if it's the council's pleasure at this time to entertain a motion to
I'll make
approve
a
the-
second to Linda's motion.
approve the balance with the exception of 7.1.
Okay, we have motion and second.
Okay.
Council, please vote.
Okay, we'll bring it back 7B. Mr. Barros?
The motion passes by a vote of
7.1.
5-0.
First of all, I'm looking at page number 2, but we don't have our pages numbered sequentially. If we can, I get council consensus to have that, so it'll be easier to locate things. 7.2 is, I want to say it's 7 pages in. And I have a question about, we paid a check to ABC Unified for the Whitney Gym skylight repair. Why would we be paying a skylight repair at Whitney Gym?
If I may defer the question to Ms. Titus, who's been working with the school district on that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Part of our contract with the district for the shared use of the gymnasiums requires that the city pay a portion of maintenance for the gymnasiums whenever those are done. Very similar to the maintenance that the school district pays for their usage for the swim center. So it's just part of the contractual obligations that we have with them.
Okay, if there's, that raises another question. If there's contractual obligations, are we still, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it, you know, they have cut the use of the facilities for our, you know, residents to use it. They're students, but, you know, the actual coaching and, you know, the various games that go on within the gyms or, you know, even the field use, they have limited us or, you know, blocked us from using things, you know, for their own coaches, you know, personal use. Are we paying the same share for less usage? I guess is my question now.
No, sir, we only pay for our percentage of the usage of the gyms. So we send them a summary at the end of the fiscal year, round about August, when we're able to tally everything. And it provides them with a listing and a percentage of the use of the Cerritos High, Whitney High, community gymnasiums, Gar High School. And so it has reduced strictly because we don't have as much use of the gym because of programming that they are doing on their side, but we only pay for the time that we're in the gym.
Okay, I see that raises another question, because, you know, you will remember this, I know, but when we built the Cerritos High School gym, the first thing the athletic director did is allowed some auto dealers come in and put their little jack stands with a little triangular piece on the wood, damaged a brand spanking new court. And the baseball team walked in on the old gym with their cleats on. So if we're paying a percentage based on usage when there's deliberate damage done by them, I think we're being taken advantage of.
It's a good point. One of the things that we are required to do also by contract is do a walkthrough of all the gymnasiums at the beginning of the year. So technically around about June 1st, we go and do, we have a meeting with each of the administrators and the athletic directors, and we discuss the schedule, and we also take a walk and look at the gym and look at the conditions. Sometimes they have capital projects like the painting of the gym at Whitney High School, so we had to pay for our portion of that. They included a mural outside, but we didn't pay for that portion because we felt that was not something that the city should have to pay for. You add something like that, it's specific to the school. We only paid for our portion of the painting. So we do go look at the condition of the gym. We paid for, I have to think back, probably 10 years ago for the resurfacing of the courts at Whitney and at Cerritos High School down to the wood, restriping and applying the polyurethane. And they paid a portion of that. We organized that project. So, you know, they're not quite as, I would prefer that they will be a little bit more, you know, gentle with the gymnasium so that the resource that we have lasts. But, you know, they have so many people going in and out of there. And as you know, there are a lot of, you know, coaches that are not teachers or on the payroll at the schools. So I'm not sure they have just as, you know, much vested interest as we do, but I believe it's a pretty fair system on the current contract. Been working with the city attorney for probably 3 years now on a new mutual use agreement with the district. We just received a signed copy of an extension to the existing agreement, so we're kind of still under that old agreement for at least till next June because we just can't seem to align ourselves. So hopefully within this year, we'll be able to accomplish that. But the existing agreement allows for, you know, their use, our use. They've increased the number of sports they have, the sports teams. You know, we've got 50 years of Title IX, so there's women's, men's, junior varsity, varsity sports that weren't offered back in 94, 95 when we built that gym. So they need more use just by virtue of the offerings that they have over at the school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the item 7?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Councilmember Barrows, I do not see your vote.
Thank you.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next item we have is the public hearing. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. The public hearing item 8A is a request by Valley Christian Schools to replace existing elements on their Cerritos campus. The presentation this evening will be given by current planning manager Sandy Cisneros, and following her presentation, she and Ms. Aguilar and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, and good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Valley Christian School System is requesting approval of conditional use permit 2003-1E 2024 amendment to permit a high school stadium use, and precise plan 2003-1E 2024 amendment to remodel an existing high school stadium and related site improvements at the Valley Christian Schools campus located at 10818 Artesia Boulevard and 17700 Dumont Avenue. In addition, the applicant is also requesting amendments to the Valley Christian campus master plan of development. And at this time, I'd like to direct your attention to the screen for details of the proposed project. The subject property is located west of the 605 freeway between Artesia Boulevard to the north and 183rd Street to the south, and the property is zoned open space or OS. This is an enlarged aerial of the view of the property with zoning information removed for more clearly show the existing site. The property was originally entitled in 2003 with the existing configuration resulting from successive amendments to the original conditional use permit and precise plan amendments. The following slides show the existing conditions of the subject property. Photo 1 on the top right is a view of the subject property's western property line, looking south from Dumont Avenue. And photo 2 at the bottom right is a view within the subject property looking southwest at the existing grandstand bleachers. Here, photo 1 at the top right is a view within the subject property looking south. And photo 2 at the bottom right is an aerial view of the subject property showing the existing stadium area. This is existing site plan showing the school campuses. The main campus parcel is currently developed with 12 high school buildings, 4 junior high buildings, several athletic fields, several sports courts, a stadium, and parking throughout. To the west of the main campus parcel is the student and bus parking lot, which was developed with 1 storage building. Both parcels are enclosed by a combination of chain link and ornamental wrought iron fencing. As mentioned, before you this evening is consideration of an amendment to the original conditional use permit to allow for the stadium use. In accordance with the Cerritos Municipal Code, private schools are conditionally permitted use on properties zoned open space, and accessory structures and uses that are incidental to the primary use of the property are permitted. The existing stadium directly supports the private school use and therefore is a conditionally permitted accessory use, which conforms with the original conditional use permit for the school. In addition to the conditional use permit amendment, the applicant has also requested approval of amendment to the original precise plan for a proposal to replace the existing grandstand bleachers with new grandstand bleachers with the same capacity, which is 1,065 persons. They all would like to replace the existing natural turf field with synthetic turf materials, replace the existing decomposed granite running track surface with a new rubberized track surface, upgrade the existing stadium light fixtures, replace existing chain link fencing with wrought iron fencing and entry gates, and to permit the construction of a small entry plaza and landscaping. Additionally, the applicant is requesting to modify the campus master plan of development to allow flexibility of future phases of development. This slide shows the proposed site plan after the remodel of the existing stadium. The proposed stadium remodel and associated improvements meet all setback and development standards of the OS zone. As required by the Cerritos Municipal Code, a pedestrian circulation plan was submitted by the applicant for the proposed project. Staff has reviewed the proposed pedestrian circulation plan and finds that the proposed plan will maintain existing foot traffic safety patterns to access the stadium, and vehicular access will be maintained. This is the proposed conceptual landscape plan. As proposed, forest pansy eastern redwood trees will be planted on site along Dumont Avenue with various ground cover and shrubs. Japanese crepe myrtle trees will be planted within the new entry plaza. This slide shows details of the proposed wrought iron fencing, wrought iron gates, main entry gates, and a Hall of Fame wall, which will be constructed on the new entry plaza. The project architect has provided several renderings to show the stadium and other improvements and how they'll look upon completion. This is the proposed rendering looking northwest directly at the new grandstand bleachers. This is a proposed rendering looking northwest from further away to show all of the proposed improvements. And this is a rendering looking southwest, showing the new entry plaza with the stadium in the background. This last rendering is a closer look southwest, showing the new main entry gateway within the stadium, with the stadium in the background. The proposed project was considered by the Planning Commission on May 1st, 2024, where the Planning Commission voted 4-0 to recommend approval of the proposed use and project to the City Council. Public hearing notices for the Planning Commission meeting and for tonight's City Council meeting were mailed to property owners within 500 feet of the subject property as required by the Cerritos Municipal Code. Notices were also posted on the city's 4 designated posting boards, and agenda reports and exhibits were posted on the city website in advance of both meetings. The project has been evaluated in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, and the city's environmental guidelines. Staff has determined that the proposed project is exempt from CEQA review pursuant to Section 15301 of state CEQA guidelines related to existing facilities and 15302 of the state CEQA guidelines related to replacement and reconstruction, which is further explained in the staff report on pages 8 and 9 on this slide, and also on this slide. Additionally, an environmental review was conducted when the project was originally entitled in 2003, and a mitigated negative declaration was adopted and certified at that time. The current proposal and future improvements conform to the original campus master plan of development, and therefore the original environmental review still applies. This concludes the details of the proposed project as well as the CEQA analysis. Before you this evening is consideration of conditional use permit 2003-1 E 2024 amendment, precise plan 2003-1 E 2024 amendment, and the amendment to the previously approved campus master plan of development. At this time, it's recommended that the City Council review and discuss the information provided, conduct a public hearing, and adopt resolutions approving the items discussed this evening. This ends the PowerPoint presentation. No public comments have been received related to these proposed amendments in response to the public hearing notices or agenda reports for both the Planning Commission and the City Council. At this time, Mr. Lopez and Mrs. Aguila and I are available to answer any questions the City Council may have. And in addition, we have a representative from Valley Christian Schools in the audience tonight. It can answer any questions if needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy, for the report. Council has a question for our staff. Seeing none, I'll open up for public comments. Anyone would like to speak on item 8A? Seeing none, we'll close the public comments period. Bring it back for the
Move
council.
staff recommendations
Okay.
to approve the project.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have motion and second.
Mine's not coming up.
Click it. There you go.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, congratulations. Next item we have is the item on old and new business 9A. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. Item 9A relates to pickleball and comes at the direction of the City Council. The presentation this evening will be given by Ms. Titus, and following that, she and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Oh, there it is. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. We'd like to thank you for the opportunity to discuss the potential locations for pickleball courts on the east side of the city and provide you with an update on the recently approved installation of 2 new courts at Liberty Park. If I can direct your attention to the screen for a PowerPoint presentation. The first few slides here depict the current state of the new pickleball courts on the south end of Liberty Park. The trees were removed on April 22nd. The previous cement slab was removed on April 24th. The new concrete slab was poured on April 26th. It requires a 30-day curing period. Once that period is over, the court will be striped just like the courts in the middle of the track, and the surfacing needs about a week to dry. Once the surfacing is ready, the poles, nets, etc. will be installed, and the court will be ready for play. As shown in the foreground of this photo, our Public Works staff has stubbed out electrical for the anticipation of installing lighting. There is no timeline for the lighting installation. The fixtures must be selected, ordered, received, and then installed. So that's just your update there. It's nothing really to be excited about. It's just a giant slab of cement. But that's what it looks like. The next 4 slides feature the potential locations on the eastern portion of the city as requested by the council at the February 22nd, 2024 meeting. They are also the exhibits 1 through 4 of the staff report. Oops. So this is Cerritos Park East, and the potential location is just south of the community center building. It is the current location of the inoperable spray pool. I should note that this location checks all the boxes when considering proximity to residences, parking, and availability of restrooms. An added bonus is that we have recreation leaders at this facility 7 days a week, just like Liberty Park. As the council is aware, we have retained the services of the Aquatic Design Group. They have visited this location as well as the other city facilities with water features. I am awaiting their assessment, which should be coming any day. However, when I did meet with them at Cerritos Park East, when they came to do their preliminary observations, the feedback that they presented really had to do with the concerns with the state and county compliance for the safe operation of the spray pool in its current condition. Their complete findings will be included in a written report. So as you can see, it is about, so small, 559 feet from the nearest residence, which is over off of Ironbark. We chose Fern Pine Circle because that was the closest one in direct line with the spray pool. That little blue dot is the spray pool. So you can see exactly where it's located, just not far from the basketball courts and just, like I said, on the south side of the community center building. This next slide is Gonzalez Park. And as you know, it's located east of Carmenita Middle School, and it's surrounded by residences on all 3 sides. While the city does not have an ordinance or policy regulating the placement of public pickleball courts, industry standard is to maintain at least 250 feet from a residence. As referenced by this photo, the potential placement of a pickleball court at this park is approximately 229 feet, just shy of the 250-foot recommended distance. The park has limited parking, but it does have a set of restrooms. It is the home of Frontier Youth Baseball League, and they occupy all of the parking throughout the spring season. I will also note that during my travels touring, virtually every day of the week, Saturdays and Sundays, all times of the day, that is a perfect location because of the mature trees for picnics and other family types of events. So, you know, the proximity is one thing, and then just, you know, it's a beautiful spot, nice secluded park for you to have a little event. Next slide, potential location is Heritage Park. Though Heritage is defined as a community center, I like to refer to it as the largest neighborhood park. It is bound by homes on 3 sides, and it is the busiest park facility in the city of Cerritos. Patrons come from near and far to enjoy the amenities, celebrate family events, and enjoy the island. The greatest concern at this location is the noise impacts to the residents. There are restrooms and parking, the majority of which happens on the residential streets. So if you've gone to the concerts in the park, you know the rear parking lot, gosh, I would say about 25 spaces and a couple of ADA parking spots. But the majority of the people that go to this park in the residences or on the public streets in the residential neighborhood. The front parking lot is overflowing every Saturday and Sunday. a lot of overflow parking into Cerritos High School gym parking lot, and again, within those residential neighbor streets. Final location that was mentioned by the council for consideration is Sunshine Park. This large passive recreation area at this park is great, but as noted in the staff report, it is completely surrounded by homes. The nearest home is only 174 feet from the facility. There are no bathrooms, and parking would also be on the residential streets. Years ago, the neighbors who live across the street, across Vicky, successfully lobbied the city council to have the parking restricted near the basketball courts due to the noise being generated in the late hours of the night by the basketball players. So that restricted parking is still there. This is my neighborhood park that I grew up at. And when I was a kid, none of those homes existed on Madera Court and Espinera. That was all new development. So maybe in 1975 it would have been okay, but with all those homes, literally their front yards are the park, it's a little challenging. And again, there's only 174 feet from the nearest home there. I identified the basketball court because we recently had someone install temporary courts there, so that's why I identified it. But if you go any area on the park itself, you're gonna be well within 200 feet, 250 feet of a home. So in conclusion, staff feels that after thorough evaluation of the recommended sites for the potential to install pickleball courts at the request of the community, Cerritos Park East is probably the most suitable location. It not only addresses the request for the courts on the east side of town, it also resolves the issue with the inoperable spray pool, which became a issue of late. It is therefore recommended that the City Council review and discuss the information provided in the staff report and direct staff accordingly. That concludes my comments. Mr. Lopez, Mr. Simoes, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, for the report. Council has a question for staff members. None.
I have a couple of questions. Sherry, thank you for the report. I have two questions. How many courts do we currently have in the city of Cerritos, which including the two at Liberty? Once that's completed, how many will we have and where are they located?
So thank you for the question, Councilmember Johnson. Currently, Kanabe Community Regional Park, which is county-owned and operated, has 10 outside courts and 3 on the inside in the gym that they use for pickleball periodically. At Liberty Park, as mentioned, we currently have 3 with the potential of 5 in about a month and a half, and we have 2 indoor courts that we program for drop-in pickleball. So that is a total of 20 in our 9 square miles.
Yes, thank you. And how many courts are there in our region, such as our neighboring cities of Artesia, Bellflower, Hawaiian Gardens, as well as Cypress and La Palma?
Thank you. So the 9 cities that touch us, including Los Alamitos, there are 68 pickleball courts within the area. In a 15-mile radius, we provided the council back in September with a chart. There are over approximately 250 courts within a 15-mile radius. So this includes Long Beach. This includes, let me give you some. We've got all of those. Seal Beach, which is not too far from where we are. Anaheim, parts of Anaheim. So lots of courts. In Artesia, they have 4 dual-use courts. In Bellflower, there are 6 courts. Hawaiian Gardens has no courts. Cypress has 10, and La Palma has 4.
Thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Okay, if you don't have a question, I will open up for the public. If they have any comments, any public would like to speak on this item. Or there are the names already.
Hi, my name is Jay, honorary mayor, respected council members and staff. I won't get into the benefits of building pickleball courts because I think you all know what they are. But there was an interesting observation I made today that I have about 14 players that I play with in Cerritos. And of those 14, only 2, which is myself and Mr. Lloyd right here, live in the city. And what that tells me is that there's a lot of business flowing into this city because of pickleball. Most of the people we work with or play with are coming from Lakewood, Bellflower, Norwalk, and they're coming into Cerritos to play, and they're spending a lot of money. I know because we go out for lunch and so on. So there's a lot of benefits. Outside of the business perspective, is it also increases property values. There's a lot of residents who enjoy playing pickleball and want to have those type of events and facilities, and that's why Cerritos is such a wonderful city to live in. It also reduces stress, and it's an active, it's a youth engagement. And one of the things that I've been thinking about more of is that as this pick is the fastest growing sport in America, it's already starting to get into our high schools. In the state of Maryland, it's already considered a high school sport, and it's only a matter of time till it hits the other 49 states. So Cerritos Park East would be an ideal spot because it also takes care of Whitney. Heritage would be nice because it would also take care of Cerritos Park East, and there would still need to be a location for Gar High School. In the February meeting, Mayor Pro Tem Chung Vo also asked about the handball courts that are at Cerritos Park East, which I live near that park, and I walk in that park quite frequently, and it's seldomly used. And so Teddy and myself actually measured that the courts, that handball courts, the 4 that are there, and 2 pickleball courts could be built there. I know it might be a little bit expensive to demolish that wall, but it is doable in case we can't use that splash pool. And I think that's really all I had to say. Again, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Sam Desai?
Thank you, Mayor, council members, staff. Pickleball. I want to, first of all, acknowledge the gentleman here who made us fall in love with pickleball. He's here. And, you know, it's beautiful that even pickleball players have different ideas, right? So some of us wants to travel to Liberty Park. Some of us prefers to go to CPE. Some of us may consider going to Heritage Park. On behalf of new pickleball players, seniors of Cerritos, we prefer that CPE is given a consideration for many, many reasons. The first reason is Heritage Park. I love going there. I'm on a duck patrol. We have Nature Conservancy people coming there. It's a beautiful, picturesque heritage park. And, you know, pickleball court over there, I'm not sure exactly where we may consider it, but you know, the noise of that pickleball, it is loud, acoustic, challenges for our, you know, birds who visit us, individuals who come to our park. So if we can keep the nature side of Cerritos and protect it, and protect Heritage Park and what value it brings to us, it would be amazing. And again, one more time, we love pickleball. And we have seen that we cannot go to a couple of other parks, right? So where do we consider it? CPE. Now, why CPE? We do know that over time, things are going to get expensive. Next council may decide to start charging even residents to play pickleball. You may need different revenue source. We have that ability to do that at CPE because we already have in-house staff who can do that. And, of course, if we are looking at Cerritos being a sports city, and if we can put pickleball there too, I'm absolutely sure that we can talk to our local businesses, like, you know, I'm your franchise advisor. I can speak to local franchises and see, you know, let's support residents and get them some things that they need that sometimes city may not be able to provide. So it would be a win-win, you know, showing that the residents and business owners can come together, and CP would be our center for sports. Olympics is coming, you know, and having one place for pickleball, CPE, seems to be the logical reason, unless one of you have a really, I mean, we have a really good reason to disturb our natural habitats and, you know, pristine lake we have and turtles, and thank you.
Teddy Lloyd?
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. As you probably know, I've came multiple times trying to encourage the city of Cerritos to have more pickleball courts. And I'm very, very excited by telling the city that I have notified 3 of our surrounding cities, City of Artesia, City of La Palma, and City of Cypress, to come and please take a look at the 2 new courts that the city of Cerritos will be building, which will be available maybe in about a month. And want them to see what it's like with pickleball courts built from scratch. Why am I saying that? Because large majority of all pickleball courts, all I call them hand-me-downs, meaning hand-me-downs from previous tennis courts or previous basketball courts, except Cerritos. Cerritos, we start building them for the current courts at the Liberty Park. Now we got the 2 new ones coming up. And I'm very, very proud of our city, and it will be the best city in the surrounding area. Now, speaking of new courts, I looked at it, and myself and Jay, we have studied a lot, and I know CP is a very great location. But I also study and look at Heritage Park. Why am I would like to suggest for Heritage Park for the city of Cerritos? Number one, it addresses many of the questions that the staff have looked into: noise, parking, restrooms, and then also next to the Cerritos High School. And then we even looked at, instead of maybe building 2 courts at a time, we looked at the location. There are a couple spots that the city of Cerritos can easily have 6 courts. Why am I saying 6 courts? Because all the other cities, and whenever they have pickleball courts available coming up, such as City of Long Beach, will be 8 courts. How? Taking 2 tennis courts and convert it into 8 pickleball courts. So now it is nice, it's great that our city is building new courts, okay, as I mentioned earlier. But I like to have the city look into Heritage Park, even though it's very, very popular. But the location, it addresses many of the issues that the staff had put together in the report. I studied the report quite a bit. So, for example, as I said, addresses the noise level. Because why? There's 2 basketball courts, they actually generate a lot more noise, in my opinion, than pickleball. And yet, it's right there. So if the city would like to pursue Heritage Park, I like to offer my service at no cost to the city to give suggestions and ideas, which I think would definitely benefit our city of Cerritos. And then I'm excited. I'm very, very excited that within 30 days, we're going to have 2 brand new courts at the Liberty Park. Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Next, we have Mel Cortez.
Thank you. Mel Cortez, City of Cerritos. 20 courts in the city. How many splash pads for the kids? Maybe 2 or 3. I don't think any of our pickleball players want to remove the splash pad away from the kids and build courts in that place, unless the splash pad is going to be replaced for sure somewhere else. So I don't think any of them will want to take away anything from the kids, like taking a lollipop from a child. So why not build the pickleball courts on the track at CPE? As at the distance, it should be also built on the north side of the track, like at Liberty Park. It'll be more than 250 feet. That's a perfect place for it. So I did a survey online with Cerritos residents, 283 people, 284, including me. 79% are against removing the splash pad from the kids to build more pickleball courts. 283 Cerritos residents, not people that come from Lakewood or Artesia or the places to play in the courts that the city is spending money on. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mel. I don't think there's delegates of 64. It's not here. Anyone else like to speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public comments period and bring it back for the council for a question or comments. What do we have, Bruce?
Thank you, Mayor. Since the question came up about removing the handball courts, what would the expense be, just ballpark figure, to do that?
Before I defer to Mr. Simoes on a possible cost estimate for that, I would just like to note, right after the City Council provided direction to explore various options for pickleball on the east side of the city, we did visit, one of the places we visited first was Cerritos Park East, and we did observe that there were in fact people playing in the handball courts using them. And refurbishment to accommodate pickleball would not be an option. It would have to be a demolition. So with that, I'll defer to Mr. Simoes to see if he has a ballpark estimate.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Thank you for the question, Mr. Barrows. So the taller a structure is, typically the more difficult it is to demolish. And those courts are built with block wall and cement covering them. So therefore, taking them apart would be a costly endeavor versus something that was, for example, at Liberty Park, which was an existing concrete pad. The material and equipment that's required to remove them is different than removing an existing concrete pad. I would assume that the demolition alone of that entire area would cost approximately anywhere between $50,000 to $75,000 for the demolition alone of the entirety of the squash ball, or I'm not sure exactly what to call them, those courts.
It's handball and racquetball.
Handball and racquetball, thank you. So about anywhere between $50,000 to $75,000 to demolish them in entirety. Less, of course, to demolish a portion of them. But anything that is much closer to the floor costs less. To demolish, I'm assuming here to demolish the existing Dolphin splash pad would approximately be about $15,000 to $20,000.
Okay, and the reason why I'm bringing up, because we do have real handball courts and pickleball courts over at Liberty Park, and there's 3 of them. One of them's not being used, if I understand it correctly. And I was reminded, outside the email that we received about saving that display area, as Mel, I think, correctly brought up, for the kids. My kids grew up playing there before they were into sports when we first moved here to Cerritos. I'd be very reluctant to take away something for the younger kids. And we really have nothing like that outside of Heritage Park Island throughout the whole city, as far as I know. The handball courts are the least expensive way to build an outdoor facility that doesn't really play real handball, because you don't have all 4 walls and a ceiling, to use. I think if we were to reopen, because I think we have, some roof damage, right, on the 3rd court over at Liberty Park. Personally, I'd rather see us get all 3 of those into good shape and allow the public to use them. And I think, Mel picked up the same thing when I was looking at the track at CPE, to use that northern part, which would be the furthest away from the residents, would be no different than what we're currently doing over at Liberty Park within the middle of the track. So, to pick up a couple there would be, I think, a good compromise, make something happen over there. It's just a personal note. My sister she's younger, but she and her husband and all her friends play pickleball, and that's all I hear about when we get together, is how much fun it is, and I should be playing. And so I'm a believer that it's a good game. It's just one I haven't picked up. But I have no problem supporting additional courts. I just want to be sure we don't lose sight that, I don't want to do it at the expense of our youngest population that's outside. And that's the splash pad. That's why I think we all agreed to go ahead and look at something that could go there that would meet, current regulations. But, this other part is growing. And the part that I know that we're woefully behind is that we don't have what I would refer to as a championship set of courts. Because when you look at those that are being done here in California and across the country, they're in a totally different league. And of course, when you look at the pay for that their professionals get for playing in that, it's beyond a lot of the professional basketball players. Like, a young lady that just went first to Indiana. Her contract doesn't compete with pickleball. So that shows the draw that pickleball already has, and it's growing. I think we all recognize that. But anyway, I would like to know more what it would cost to go ahead and change the outdoor court, because as far as I know, it's never been heavily used or even moderately used. There's people that go there periodically, but it's not a court that draws people to it. And I know the ones that we have at Liberty would be a draw if they're, clean and up to date. And I'm not saying rebuilding that and putting glass walls in and stuff, like the courts. I used to play on a competitive basis, for handball. And, so I'm well aware of what the high-end courts look like. And I'm not suggesting we do that. I just think we need to, go through and just refresh ours, basically.
If I may, I just want to mention again that when I met with the Aquatic Design Group at Cerritos Park East and asked them about, unofficially, without having the report, what would it take, if anything, to bring the spray pool up to code? And it's not ADA compliant at this point. So there would be a tremendous amount of expense that we would have to make it compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's also a pool, which means I have to have a lifeguard monitoring that space. The depth of that space there is out of code compliance.
Okay. Sherry, if I can just interrupt. 'Cause
Sure.
I wasn't recommending that we put a pool back in. I mean, you look at how the water interacts just out here with the dolphins. It could be something like that. Something that the kids could get involved with without us having to go to that expense of having a full-time staff person there. But when you look, and I've counted one time 64 kids inside the dolphin area with the water that splashes.
Yes.
And when I've been to other parks that have interactive water things, there's a lot of different solutions, and I'm not recommending any one of them. I'd just like to know what we can do.
Well, the goal is to make sure you have as much information to make an informed decision. And most cities are moving away from splash pads and water features. It's just the industry cannot, the cities cannot support the funding that is required to install and also maintain those splash pads. So if you have them, you're good, but most cities are not installing those anymore. So I just wanted to put that out there so that you understand. Just preliminary, just the few things that she mentioned. We'll, of course, wait for the report to get back from the Aquatic Design Group, which is why we enlisted their services. But I'm not sure that water feature, which has not been used in over 25 years, is going to, it's probably going to be cost prohibitive to even bring it back up to code. So just wanting to make sure you have all the information is the goal.
Okay, anything else? That's it?
No.
Okay, anyone else?
I have a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Before I comment, Sherry, can you, I know you and I talked, is there a reason why the handball court at CPE was not considered?
The reason why, council member, one is proximity to the street. So yes, the basketball courts are near the street as well. There is a 12-foot fence chain link fence that's there. But safety is a big concern. Also, it is closer to the ball fields than the basketball courts. And we have to be careful when we have those types of activities going on that one of those balls, which is a hard ball because it's baseball, could potentially hit somebody. Right now, the cement walls are they're huge and hopefully would protect somebody. Of course, it's not 100% guarantee. But we did not consider those because they are used. We only have 4 tennis courts at Cerritos Park East, It is the home tennis court for Whitney High School. We have a lot of play over there, and we don't have tennis players are as vocal as our pickleball constituents, but you know, we got lots of calls when they heard the potential at the Parks and Rec Commission that we would be converting to a dual use. So people are playing and they are using those, and they use those as a secondary location when the tennis courts are all filled.
Yes. Thanks, Sherry. You and I talked about that, so thank you for sharing that. And I also took a drive around the park on Monday evening, and I saw that tennis courts were being used. So fortunately for our residents, we're a city that's almost 9 square miles. That makes it easy for residents to access so many amenities within our community, including our senior center, Cerritos Mall, CCPA, and our parks, such as Heritage, CPE, and Liberty. Our streets, such as 183rd, 195th, South Street, Studebaker, provides us a straight shot over to Liberty Park, where we have 3 pickleball courts, and after the completion of the capital improvement project, we will have a total of 5 at Liberty Park. And I want to thank our residents that have been advocating for pickleball courts. Your voices were heard, and our council has increased the number of courts for our residents to play in. As I've said before, installing pickleball courts at our neighborhood parks, in our residential neighborhood parks, including Gonzalez and Sunshine Park, is a non-starter for me. I have concerns of the noise from the ball hitting the paddle, as well as the increase in parking that will impact those residential neighborhoods. I'm also not in favor of installing pickleball courts at Heritage Park for the same reasons as mentioned in the staff report. And as much as I appreciate staff that have identified the spray pool at CPE, I am not in favor of removing an amenity that was intended for young kids and replacing it with a pickleball court. Park amenities should be available for all of our 50,000 residents. Our parks should have something for everybody from ages 1 to 100. And as a city, we have done just that. After the completion of the Liberty Park project, Cerritos will have a total of 20 pickleball courts in the entire city, and that's more than what Cypress has. So thanks to Supervisor Hahn, she provided half of those courts over at Kanabe Park. And lucky for us, all of our courts are easily accessible by surface streets and no freeway is needed. But I realize that we are still waiting for a report back from the consultant to provide potential recommendations for a water feature at CPE. But let's just say the report back recommends no water feature. I'm still not inclined to put another pickleball court installed in that place. That space was intended for little kids to recreate, and we should reserve that space for them while we come up with other possible uses for that space. And I recognize the popularity of pickleball as a sport enjoyed by so many residents. However, we need a balance of park amenities, keeping in mind that we should provide a variety of resources that benefit all demographics, all ages, pickleball and non-pickleball players as well. So again, thank you to staff, our Parks Department, and thank you to our residents that came out and spoke about this. Thank you.
Linda, based on your comments, would your motion be to take no action and wait until for the new report to come to us?
Yes, that would be my motion.
Okay, I'll second that then.
Thank you.
I would like to make comments if that's okay, Mayor.
Go ahead. Yep.
Thank you. Again, it's been said many times, thank you to the staff for providing this report to the council. I think at the very beginning, I've always made it really known that I'm not in favor of using dual use for courts because it takes away from one group to give to another. And so that's why I've always been pushing that we get new courts installed. And I appreciate some of the members that came out today and said that they were proud that here in Cerritos we build new courts instead of reusing existing courts for the purpose of pickleball. I think everybody should have their own play space. We have been fielding complaints. They may not be showing up here at the council, but they have been complaints. I know to me that certain individuals are, pushing for pickleball courts to be taken over, tennis courts, basketball courts, and so forth. And that's not something that I would like to do. I would like to make sure that everyone gets their option to play and opportunities to play. Now, I understand that the splash pad or spray pad has been around for 25 years, hasn't been used, you said?
It's actually been around since the 70s. It hasn't been used in about 25
Well, thank you.
years.
So that's a problem for me, that it's just been sitting there for that long, and nobody has tried to either fix it or replace it or do something, but instead we just let it sit there unused as an eyesore for all those kids, you know, that see it and want to play in it, but they can't. So I don't like the fact that it's because it hasn't been used that you know, we shouldn't do anything, or I think we should attempt to try and fix it if we can. Put something else there that may be more modern. You know, we have a survey that's coming, and hopefully they give us recommendation what we can do versus do nothing and get rid of it. Excuse me. So, you know, in the past council meetings, we identified certain locations. We wanted one at CPE. It was a strong push to have it at CPE. So I appreciate staff looking at it. I agree that, you know, I did mention on the handball court, these were just ideas thrown out there. And if staff is saying that when they go out there and there's other players there, again, I don't want to replace one group for another. But I'm actually looking at a map of CPE and area review right now, and I did some measurements as well. Now, as the track was mentioned, and you said ideally we wanted 250 feet away from residents, right?
Yes, and I also would like to mention, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that track is programmed for soccer, primarily our soccer league, but others, AYSO and the like. So it is, at our former city manager's direction, programmed and has been now programmed as a soccer field. So
Yeah, and again, I don't want to replace one group for
Right.
another. So, and I measured it out, it was less than 250 feet from the residents right there. Now, I also looked at, and I know you had just mentioned something about being the proximity to the street, and that was for the handball court, and the street being the parking lot, right? So when you said that, because I had an idea where we might consider as well, and then you kind of shot my idea down because I'm looking over there at 166th Street between the playground and 166. I don't know if you can pull that map up.
Yeah.
I measured that out, and there is approximately about 77 feet by 201 feet. And it's definitely further than 250 feet from the closest residence right there. If you look at it where it's between the playground and 166th Street.
So sorry,
It's okay, take your time.
my computer timed out.
I wish we could, I'm able to access the computers and I can just, or the screen, I can throw it up there, but that's too advanced for this. So,
And while that image is coming up, the location that was just mentioned, but to the north of the playground, just between the playground and 166th Street, size-wise, potentially it could be accommodated. One thing to note is that there are several mature trees in that area. It's also contains several bermed mounds that would add to potential construction cost.
yeah. Well, there's going to be a cost no matter what. So the question is how much we want to spend, how much we want to invest in it. And I mean, it's going to cost us money if that's what we want. We want new courts that focus on just that one sport. So, and I don't frequent that park as much anymore because my sons are older now and they're not in Frontier League. But when I do go there, that area of grass is pretty much, it's not used as much. I mean, unless,
I would agree with that, Mayor Pro Tem, because of the proximity to the street. I
Right,
think
so-
people just don't want to pick, if anything, if I've seen things there, it's been just a picnic with 10 or 20 family members, so.
so with noise factor with the pickleball balls and all that, I don't know if we can look at that to make it safe for the pickleball players. Maybe put like a fence of trees along the street, something, and then we can enclose the pickleball court in that area. That way we don't take away from anything else, but they're still able to play and have a pickleball court right there. And it's flat. We don't have to knock anything down. Well, it's not flat. You said there's mountains. But we don't have to knock any structures down. And it still provides the distance away from the residents. And that's an area where I don't think it's used often, and other than just just staying there and, you know, sitting on the grass because of the proximity of the street. So I don't know if that's something we can look at as well. I don't want to just shoot down this whole idea of putting something at CPE. I'm trying to make it work. And I know that wasn't considered, but that's something, you know, the parking issue, there's parking to the right and parking, of course, in the main lot. And size-wise, it definitely could fit a few courts there. I don't know.
Yes, after the last meeting, Robert and Dario and I literally walked every inch of that park and really did not go to that area, primarily because it was on the outskirts of the facility. But I think if we take a walk over there and just do some preliminary measurements and see, there are mature trees over there. When we used to do the July 4th celebration, that was a prime location for picnicking. So without having that event there anymore, I don't think you're going to impact people. But I don't know because we didn't.
And I know at that park, we had to cut down some mature trees because they were infected along the baseball fields and stuff too.
We had a beetle infestation.
Yeah, so I'm just throwing it out there to just have consideration. We're trying to make this work. If we can make it safe along 166, along the grass area, I'm sure staff can probably think of some ideas where you can enclose it a little bit. And those pickleball, I don't play pickleball. I've seen it. It doesn't go that far. But we also still want to make it safe for them.
For sure. It is right on the street. So, you know, errant balls being hit everywhere, you know, you got that issue.
And we got to make it safe for the traffic that drives by too.
Right.
So I don't know how close we can bring it to the playground versus the street. But, you know, I measure that whole area out and, you know, just trying to find it close to the street as possible. It's about 77 feet. Where we move it further down south of that, it's probably I got the measurement tool right here. It's about 100 feet from the curb line all the way to like that first walkway. So, and a court is what, 20 by 44? I just looked it up. Right, 20 feet by 44, right? So if there's 100 feet and the width is over 200 feet, and it's still 250 feet away from that residential tract to the east of it. I don't know, something we can consider.
Thank you. It's a good suggestion.
Chung, would you like to have that report come back with it if Linda would allow the friendly amendment to it? Okay, so I'll second, but Chung, is that something you'd like to have done?
Oh, that's what I'm asking, yes.
Okay.
So along with the report from the Aquatic Design Group,
Yeah, bring back.
recommendations for the pool.
Yeah, a more robust look at the options.
Sure.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying, to me, we need to do something about that splash pool. We can't just leave it sitting there barren like that and move on and just ignore it. I want to do something as well. This is one of the requests from council in regards to updating our facilities, updating our infrastructure, and maintaining, you know, a good, clean look in the Cerritos. That right there, I lived here for over 20-some years. That's never worked for my kids, right? So it was just there. And I remember my kid when they were little, they're like, can we go play there? And I said, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Maybe they turned on different hours. I don't know. But so.
The code changed about 25 years ago. And so there was a decision made at that time to, you know, not operate those pools. We used to operate them during the summer, about 1 to 4 every day, and a staff member would be out there monitoring the use. But again, I'm very much looking forward to what their recommendation is going to be. My hope is that we can do something with those existing spaces with just some retrofitting to meet the ADA, but I won't know until we receive that report.
And that's a good point too, is that we're still waiting for this report. So we should hold off on making any decisions to that end. So, but yeah, thank you.
But Sherry, I do remember the council has asked something be done with that in the past. I just can't remember precisely what was asked, but I remember sitting up here when we did ask. And I also knew that the prior city manager didn't want to take the time to work on it because it wasn't a big project. We were working on big things at the time.
Yeah, and I think it's just, you know, again, we don't control the county codes, the state codes with respect to these spaces, and I'm pretty sure there were probably other priorities that, you know, took precedent, but I don't recall that far back. but it has not been, that one as well as Westgate has not been operable for a number of years. There was also one at Frontier Park. Westgate and Frontier used to be locations for Tot Lot, which is why those were put in. And so the one at Westgate also is no longer operable. As a matter of fact, I just signed an invoice for a permit to, it's not operable. So we have a permit from the county that designates that as a non-operable splash pool, so.
Can I just add one more thing too? Just looking at the map right here.
Are we at CPE still?
We're still at CPE,
Okay.
same location. That parking lot to the east, you know how there's a small, right where the shelter is, there's a small little parking area just north of it. You gotta, when you drive into the lot, you make a quick right and it's a small amount.
Yes.
Because we're maybe looking at that, is that something we can expand further north a little bit and add a few more rows, a couple rows? To,
That would be an engineering question.
because
for Dario.
again, that section right there, that corner of that entrance of the lot in 166, there's a walkway going across, but I have to say that I don't know if too many people walk that way, and I know that parking is prime at that location, especially if there's an event inside the office there. So I don't know if we can just expand that. If we're going to put a pickleball court, expand that lot wider to add a couple more rows of parking that accommodates the extra use.
Yeah, we'll certainly look at that. I know that we also have ADA compliance issues with respect to the sidewalks and access to the facility, but Dario's probably taking a note, and we'll take a look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we have motion with the, we're waiting for the reports to come back, right? And your second on that?
Yes, yes, and the
So we don't take no action
to
on
also
this, I
include a more robust look at the various proposed things we discussed for the park.
And there
You get
was,
that, Rita?
yes, there was a motion by Councilmember Johnson and seconded by Councilmember Barrows. And I'd be happy to take, oh, here we go. And the electronic voting has been activated.
Okay.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
The next item we have is the item 10A, legislative item,
Mayor, we do not have any legislative items to present this evening,
10B.
on neither 10A nor 10B.
Okay. Reports from city managers.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. I have two announcements this evening. The first is I would like to welcome a new member of the city team who's here present this evening, Mr. Jeremy Lowe. He is the new senior planner in the current planning division of the Department of Community Development. He's been with us for just shy of 2 months. He most recently worked for the city of Los Altos Hills in the Bay Area and began employment with us in the city of Cerritos following his relocation to Southern California. Jeremy has a bachelor's degree in landscape architecture and a master's degree in city and regional planning from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So with that, just wanted to welcome him formally and see if he wants to say a few words.
Welcome. Would you like to say something?
Thank you, Robert, Mayor Solanke, members of the council. I'm excited to begin working here and to start this next stage of my career growth. And I really appreciate the beauty of Cerritos, its parkways and its parks. As a fun fact, in 1976, when my father immigrated here, he first lived in Cerritos.
Oh, wow. Well, that's nice. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. And second announcement, Mayor and members of the City Council, is we are on track to open the golf course, the Cerritos Ironwood 9 golf course, tomorrow, May 24th. We put out several announcements on our website and our social media and various media channels. And with that, we have an online tee reservation system that has been in effect for about the past week. We are at almost full capacity for the next several days, so there's definitely a lot of excitement and interest in the reopening of the golf course. Also, beginning on Saturday, we will have a food vendor.
Robert, real quick,
Yes.
before you move on, I made a call into your office this morning about the online reservation. So my son tried to put in a reservation, and it isn't as obvious that you're a resident because it only gives you an option to book non-residents, but you have to kind of look into it deep and understand that you pay when you get there. But the question came up was he didn't even book it because he's like, well, you know, he was going to go with me, and we're a resident, so I ended up having to book it myself because I figured when we show up, we'll just let them know we're residents, right? So I don't know, that's something we can fix on the app and then the website, but it just gives you an option of non-resident booking.
Thank you for that feedback, and we can certainly look into it. I'll also add we are working to integrate the ability to pay online. It's currently not an option, but we are working with the vendor on that. Do you want to add anything, Sherry?
Just real quick, Mayor Pro Tem, I did get your message, but it defaults to non-resident until you come in to prove your residency. So once that's done, very much like our Civic Rec system for registration of classes, then we will change that to resident. Also, please allow my staff to provide great customer service, because when you come into the golf course, no matter if it says resident in that system or not, you still are going to need to provide your ID so that we know which green fees to assess. So
No, absolutely. If we could just make that from
Absolutely.
from you explaining to me now, it makes sense, right? So I don't know, we can just put that somewhere, send that you have to come in to prove residency first or something, because for someone like my son who was trying to book it, he opted not to book it because I'm like, well, it doesn't give me an option. So I ended up having to do it, and then which I have no problems, but I punched all the options, and it wasn't clear either to me that there was a resident option by coming in.
yeah, so it defaults to that. It's a system that we just took off the shelf. We can't really do too much in the way of customization. We have a lot of information on the website and via Lightspeed, which is the company that provides that service. But you can book whether it defaults to non-resident or not. Anybody can make a booking until you come in to actually.
And the reason why is because the fees are different, right? For
That is correct.
And so it's when it shows non-resident, it's showing you the higher fee. So for residents, they're going to think, well, am I going to have to pay that or whatever? But so, I appreciate that that update, because and that explanation explains why we do it the way we do. But we can just add that on somewhere to let them know.
I actually printed out some information. I was hoping to talk to you after the meeting.
And another thing is, at least on the mobile function, our website's updated in a sense, right? I mean, I haven't heard anything about the website that we contract. Aaron, I'm looking at you. We contracted out. I know on MIS we haven't gotten a real late update on it, but I know in the past we've been working on it. And I noticed that on the mobile, trying to log on, there was small little things that push to the bottom right corner of the screen, and it wouldn't pop up, and then I had to load, unload, and finally there's a small blue tab.
It says book a tea time.
Yeah, and it didn't pop up the first time or second time. I had to, so I'm like, I was
Refresh.
looking, I'm like, what is going on? I don't see it, and I kept on looking for it, and eventually it did pop up. So I don't know, that's something we can look at.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Mayor Pro Tem Vo, excuse me, if I could defer that question to Ms. Hilton, she might be able to address the question about the city's webpage.
I am jumping into answer with Drew Schneider, who very recently is now over communications, but as a legacy member of communications, the team has been working very closely under Drew's direction to complete the new website design, and the launch is expected this summer, and it is now in the final review stage. So the content has been populated, and now the division managers and department heads are reviewing the material, and in a few weeks, it will go through a final technical review, and based on Drew's discussions with his team and his direction to the home management team, working with Robert as well.
Thank you.
And if I may just add on the golf course, beginning this Saturday, we will also have an on-site food vendor who will be providing food service intermittently, but at least through this weekend, and then beyond that, we'll have food service on occasion. So we're happy to report that as well.
What will they be serving?
Sherry?
Well, it's Austin's Burgers, and it'll be burgers, fries, grilled cheese, veggie burgers, drinks, and they'll be out there from 11 to 2 on Saturday and Sunday. It is Memorial Day weekend, so their schedule was pretty much set, actually through October, but they were able to free up some time. They also provide those services for Paramount Studios, so our time period worked out great so that they can get to Paramount and do their normal gig there. So we're working on some options for, my preference was to try and do like a brunch situation where we had, breakfast burritos and coffee and those types of things to get the folks that come out early, and then also lunch options. So we're still working on that. With Robert's direction to open, this was a good opportunity to at least try it out. Our Public Works team, as well as the Parks Division, stubbed out electrical for the food trucks, as well as a water source in case they would like that. So it makes it better for them. This particular food truck has converted to electric, so there won't be a generator running, you normally hear with food trucks. So we're thankful for them. They've done a lot of events for us, all of our major special events, and they also provide, if you recall, the food for National Night Out and then the employee night and those types of things. So really like working with them, and they were gracious enough to assist us this weekend.
Thank you.
Those are all the updates that we have this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Just real quick, Mayor, in regards to the website, because the MIS committee hasn't been in the loop of the final stages of the website, I would like to request that before the final release, somehow, the committee can come together and take a look at that, just to make sure that it's well organized, and any more opinions or requests is put forward as well. So is that something we can do?
Yes, we'd be happy to schedule a meeting with the IT committee. I believe the committee did see the original design for the website, but we'd be happy to walk you through now that the content has been put in, and after it's been internally vetted, we'd be happy to walk the committee through that. And then when it's final, we can make a presentation to the full city council as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item is the 11B, City Council Communication. I'll start with Linda Johnson.
Thank you. I want to thank the CCPA for inviting us, and I attended the load-in for Hairspray. It's very interesting to see just what goes into loading in a production as big as Hairspray, and I actually got to watch the show the following day. So thank you for bringing the Broadway series. Really appreciate all that. And I'm looking forward to next season as well. Last week, I attended the 65th Annual Contract Cities Summer Conference in Indian Wells. It was a great conference, and one of the highlights is when the elected council members do a flag parade representing their cities. And as the delegate for the city of Cerritos, I was very proud to represent the city. One of the sessions was a discussion on AI, and I know Bruce is very interested and has made it a part of our objectives in our goals. The AI session talked about how Gen AI will empower more effective city/resident interactions. Gen AI will be a force multiplier. It will be used to help close the gap in service demand. We are data-driven, where it will take staff many hours to create reports. AI can reduce staff time and fill in that gap and generate information such as data and analytics. In fact, one of the slides in the PowerPoint presentation was a demographic overview of the city of Cerritos prepared by AI. So of course, when we're watching this presentation, Robert and I were cheering for Cerritos. However, it's also important to note that the human loop is critical, and we cannot rely 100% on AI. AI is one of the priority goals set forth on the strategic plan. We as a city are very fortunate to have access to broadband. Therefore, there are no barriers for us, and Cerritos is on the right path in moving forward in the future of AI. I want to thank Captain Drew Strong and City Manager Robert Lopez for taking time to attend their very first Contract Cities Conference. For Robert, I was able to introduce him to so many of our city managers and elected officials in the region. We also got a chance to meet with Supervisors Holly Mitchell and Catherine Barger, and of course Supervisor Hahn, who joined us and sat with us at our table. Robert and I were also able to have conversations with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Contract Law Enforcement Bureau deputies, and it's really important to note that, these kinds of conversations that we have our deputies are at our organic conversations that you just don't get in a meeting. The conference is not just about the sessions. In fact, Supervisor Mitchell emphasized the importance of networking. She applauded all of us for being there and learning about other cities. Supervisor Mitchell stated, quote, "This is work. She says, we have a responsibility to grow and learn, and the only way to do it is that we come together." I appreciated that she recognized that. And yes, networking is a lot of work. Even Supervisor Janice Hahn said that the value of the conference is outside of the sessions. She said it happens all in the lobby. So thank you to my council colleagues for approving my conference expenditures so that I could attend. And as Supervisor Mitchell stated, to learn and grow. In fact, conferences such as Contract Cities or Independent Cities Association are not just valuable to our city manager and council, it is also valuable to staff and commissions, particularly our planning commission. I'd really like to see our directors and commissioners learn and grow and attend these conferences. This year, it was nice to see that Team Cerritos was in the house, and I look forward to a whole Cerritos delegation going in the future. Thank you.
Chung?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything for tonight.
Bruce?
I'd like to go ahead and just second one thing that Linda said. My start in the city on the planning commission is that the planning commission used to go to contract cities. Back then it was Palm Springs. I'm a big believer that we should have our staff attend as many things as possible, but especially, the League of Cities, which meets in Long Beach, would be one that would be very inexpensive for us to have our department heads, attend that one. But the planning commission, especially, the contract cities, what goes on there, I think is a way to build a lot of the knowledge that they need should, any one of them want to go ahead and run for city council. Parks and Recs, there's other programs for them. Fine arts has a different path to take, and I don't see contract cities, taking care of that side of it. But I would second the request, and I think the consensus, hopefully from council, would be that we plan for them to, them meaning the planning commission, attend next year, which would be this time next year. So I'm looking for hopefully consensus.
We got to see the budget first of all.
But the budget, it's right here.
There is a budget for planning commission to attend conferences. They're not utilizing it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and so they can go.
You just asked for consensus, so that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Frank?
Thank you. So I was excited to join Naresh on May 10 at the grand opening of Bafang Dumpling at our Los Cerritos Center. They started in Taiwan, and they have over 1,100 stores in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China. And Cerritos is lucky to have their 8th store here in Southern California, and really, it's actually their 8th store in America. So it was a well-attended event, long line, and I'm glad that Macerich got a good business to go into that empty space. And then later that day, Linda and I attended the women's luncheon at the Cerritos Senior Center. It was a sold-out event. I'm glad we can celebrate and thank the women in our community. And I just wanted to say that Joyelle and the Senior Center team did a great job for the women's luncheon. And then last week, I was excited to join the National League of Cities team and the strategic business partners in the city of Philadelphia for the National League of Cities Capstone Leaders Forum. And I was honored to be one of only 4 elected officials who were invited to attend this exclusive convening with National League of Cities highest level business partners, including business partners that we know like Esri and Google were there. And, I was honored to be in attendance because I'm blessed to be the president of one of the NLC constituency groups, the Asian Pacific American Municipal Officials. And then just on Monday, I want to congratulate one of our hometown sons of Cerritos, author Rod Polito. We had a wonderful event at the Cerritos Library in honor of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. The library is programming this month to celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And Linda and I celebrated our hometown son of Cerritos, Rod Polito, at his Cerritos Library book event this Monday. And we had a great attendance of the community. And I wanted to thank Pedro at the library for making this event happen. And the name of the book by Rod Polito is Chasing Pacquiao. It's a young adult book. And thank you to Cerritos and the Cerritos Library for celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and also and doing it at the library and their programming. And speaking of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I just wanted to share that I'm excited that as president of APAMO, I will be having a Zoom event with the APAMO officers and board members and members. We're going to be having a Zoom event celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And the theme of this celebration is uplifting AANHPI Heritage Month. And, this is very important to me and our community because, as we all know, the city of Cerritos is over 60% AANHPI. One last thing, a point of personal privilege. I'm just, as I mentioned previously, I was so blessed at the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference to have had the opportunity to meet the President of the United States. And then after that event happened, it was exciting to get an email of the photos of me meeting him sent to me by the White House photographer. Well, when I came back from Philadelphia last week and I was looking through my mail stack here in City Hall, I had an envelope from the White House, a manila envelope from the White House. And I opened it up, and there was that photo that was emailed to me a couple weeks ago. It was the photo of me and the president shaking hands, looking at the camera. And it was autographed by him. And I was already blown away. But then I found there was also in there a note. And it was a note from the president. And what I really appreciated was the personalization of the note, in that he thanked me for my leadership as a Cerritos council member, just like because Cerritos is the hometown of his Secretary of Labor, Julie Su. And that just shows me that the president knows that Cerritos is on the map. And then lastly, another thing that really blew me away was that he ended the letter, Jill and I send our best to Wendy, McKenna, and Maddox, my wife and kids. So when I showed that to my family, they were just blown away by the fact that the President of the United States knows their names. So thank you for letting me share that with you. Being a council member of the city of Cerritos gives me the blessings to have opportunities like that in serving my city. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, tonight we are going to close this meeting in memory of Dorothy Owens. On May 13, 2024, we lost a longtime Cerritos resident and active community member, Dorothy McCoo Owens. Dorothy Kaylin was born in Nashville, Tennessee on October 21, 1939 to Charles and Mary Frances Colline. She met her first husband, Norbert, at Vanderbilt University, and they married in October 1960. In early 60s, they settled in Hollywood, California. In 1969, they moved to a growing small city called Cerritos. Because of the promise it held for a young family, she and Norbert raised their daughter, Tracy, who attended school in ABC Unified School District, played at a Friendship Park, and participated in many programs at Dorothy's insistence. In retirement, Dorothy became an active member of Cerritos Service Community. She was an active member of First CAB Adoption Committee since 2007 and served 8 years as a president of the First CAB Adoption Committee, where she coordinated fundraising and awareness activity in the city to support Marine Station at Camp Pendleton. In addition, Dorothy was an active in the Women's Club of Artesia Cerritos, the Cerritos Chambers of Commerce, and was a board member of SUCASA. Dorothy was very proud to be named Volunteer of the Year a few years ago in recognition of the tireless work she did for the community groups she served. After Norbert passed away in 1997, Dorothy later married David Owens, who passed away in 2008. Earlier this year, Dorothy started a nonprofit organization in memory of her sister Nancy, who was a school teacher. The goal of the organization is to provide financial assistance to teachers for classroom supplies to ensure student success, and Dorothy worked hard to secure funds for this worthy organization. Dorothy had many hobbies. She loved to dance, garden, ski, and travel. Dorothy is survived by her daughter, Tracy, son-in-law, Jay, 3 grandsons, Jason, Bishop, and Elijah, brother Charles, Colin, 3, and 1 cousin, Jean. She will be truly missed by her family, friends, and her entire community. So we're going to close in her memory. Okay. So with that, we have a closed session, correct?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, there are 3 closed session items on the agenda. Items 12A and 12B are conference with labor negotiators pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6 with agency negotiators Robert A. Lopez, City Manager, Patricia Leyva, Personnel Risk Manager, and Joseph Larson, City Attorney's Office for the employee organization AFSCME Local 619 and for unrepresented employees full-time exempt. Item 12C is conference with legal counsel for anticipated litigation with significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraphs 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. Number of potential cases 2, and with that we can recess to closed session.
Okay. I would really appreciate if all the council, we directly go into the closed session. Thank you.